go any longer out on that road and I'm one of them, you know? A terminal prey.
Three cards declare victim killer. Your name is embedded in the grave.
George, no Nintendo 24 Looks like a couple seconds favorite beast.
You send me muscles that operate my human race.
Show Mr. Mule Parts.
I'm bad. Get off that case already! Everybody's a suspect! Those things out there trying to imitate him. Another day. And on the learning.
Prepare spaceship number 1.
Bienvenuto, gang. What is poppin' kernels? What is poppin' corn dogs? We're here for one last time of the year. Just busted a rhyme.
Whoa.
On your ass for one last time.
Relax.
Welcome to the Just Play It rap party. Cue the air horns. It's the end of the year. It's the end of 2 seasons. And the Just Play It boys are here to wrap it all up. I'm one of your hosts. I'm James.
And I'm Nick. And it is a wrap.
So here's what we got on the slate for this special. We're going to be doing some reflections and retrospects. We'll be doing some quizzes, so feel free to play along with us. And we did drop hints throughout the course of this year that we will be re-ranking our movies. Some slight tweaks, touch-ups, because, you know, as we got into the podcast, we kind of didn't have like a strong reference point for certain movies. Maybe thinking about some movies later, we thought, it should be a little bit lower. It should be a little bit higher. In addition, we're going to have a tournament bracket.
Ooh.
Supplied by me. It's going to be a surprise to Nick, and it's going to be judged by both of us. So we will have a winner of that bracket. Stay tuned to find out what that's about. We'll end our show with awards, the cornies and the poppies. Think of it as your Razzies and your Oscars. Cornies, bad. Poppies, good. Finally, we're going to be revealing what franchise we will be diving into next year, because we unintentionally fell into a franchise of the year this year. And let's talk about that franchise. Mad Max.
Let's do it.
4 movies spanning from 1979 to 2015. A lot happened, I think, creatively. But how did this franchise kind of evolve? How did just the viewing experience evolve?
Is that for me?
That's for you. Yeah, no, you're the only one
That's
here.
That's for me. I don't know. I thought maybe it was rhetorical. Maybe you're talking to the audience. I don't know. For me specifically, the main way the movie evolved, obviously the budget, George Miller getting a little bit of money, being able to do more so what he wanted to do. I think it also evolved the character of Max. And while he wasn't necessarily the most dynamic character of any movie we watched this year, I would say he evolved the most. I mean, having watched the original Mad Max, he's not as much of a badass, a little more of a vigilante cop trying to do the right thing. As time goes on, he kind of becomes more of the Mad Max legend character. I was contemplating our franchise of the year, and I was thinking to myself, and maybe George Miller's this high level, maybe I'm this high level, or maybe I'm just an idiot, but most of the Mad Maxes are told through the eyes of other folks.
Yes, we kind of unwrapped that as we were researching these movies when we needed a little bit more in-depth detail of it. And that was a nice, interesting thing to learn. However, I don't agree with the first one. I don't think that's really...
The first one is his point of view. So this is what I was thinking. The first one is his point of view when he's much more, again, just a vigilante, a broken vigilante. And he gets more and more badass. And it's almost as the legend grows, it's almost like a fish story. Right, everyone who runs into Max, the story is more grandiose, and he's more of a legend, more doing inhuman things almost.
Let me piggyback on that. I think the world actually gets more ridiculous, colorful as the Mad Max movies go on, because you got
big time.
OG1 is the closest to reality, and then Road Warrior kind of stems off into this crazy post-apocalyptic, leather-wearing, ridiculous world. And then Beyond Thunderdome kind of takes it up to a new level. You're saying, oh, here's this whole town that is now operating underneath its own rules and regulations and power struggles.
New forms of energy.
And then you hit Fury Road, and it's just like this grand masterpiece of the Citadel. And it's super like blown out proportions. So it seems like it's the way the locations are, the characters are, the costumes, the monster truck tires on the cars. It all seems very exaggerated.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of makes more and more sense as the legend goes on, the more exaggerated the visuals are and the story is.
As the story gets passed down.
That's part of the Mad Max evolution.
We could get into a little bit of the budget because we detailed this in Fury Road, how the budget grew at 300,000 to 3 million to 10 million to, gosh, what was Fury Road? That was
150 million.
You know those guys who end up making money and they completely change as a person? You're like, wow, the money's really changed you. George Miller's not that guy. He just took the money and made a better version of what he had. And I think that so many franchises get ruined when the budget comes over the top because the directors are trying to do way too much with that money and they're trying to justify it. And George Miller, it shows that he had such a high level concept to start out with. And this was always his vision, right? It was never a one-off. And then somebody said, please make a number 2 because number 1 was successful. He had this whole world planned out in his head. So he was just like, he's like, I'm sticking with the same story, but let's just give it some beef.
Yeah. And let's talk about the consistency of George Miller in the chair, in the director's chair. How'd you feel about a franchise just having a singular mono director at the helm?
It's different than what we're used to in today's cinema, no doubt. You for the most part, you get little trilogies here and there, definitely not spread out as far as these ones were. And I think Fury Road is what really broke the mold for a guy to come back and direct the same franchise, 30 years later.
It seems like the spirit of Mad Max stays very consistent because I'm thinking about what are other franchises that they've just like expanded past what their original intention was. Like I'm thinking about Transformers. I'm thinking about the Fast and Furious. It seems like a lot of studios will take a franchise title and just pump out another project because they're like, this is successful. Let's do it. Whereas Mad Max has been one single creator, George Miller. Also, of course, in addition to his friend that passed away, Byron Kennedy. With one singular creative visionary at the helm, I think you just had like a very constant, gradual evolution of not only the story of Max, but just the quality of the movies. Mad Max OG was very grassroots, humble looking, almost indie film-esque, as we touched upon when we first watched it. And, we were like, what the hell's this? This doesn't look like anything like Mad Max. And then Road Warrior, he just like upped the quality. I think he nailed the Mad Max identity at Road Warrior. And then Beyond Thunderdome was kind of similar. I think we felt like it kind of dipped a little bit.
Yep.
And then Fury Road just like blew it out the gates.
We talked about this on our Star Wars. We've talked about this with even Marvel, I think, starts to run into this where somebody takes the franchise and they don't know the spirit of the content. They either try to go above and beyond or get outside of the bounds of that world that's been created. It's a testament to be able to have one guy in the chair. He knows the world of Mad Max. No one else knows the world of Mad Max. There's no other experts. There's no one else for him to turn to. He's the expert. So, I mean, you have the expert in the chair.
Well, right next to George Miller was his friend and colleague, Byron Kennedy, who unfortunately passed away right before the making of Beyond Thunderdome.
It would be really hard to have someone that you created a world with and then carry on in that world without them. The only other guy he collaborated with is passed, and you don't want to let anybody else into that fold immediately after, because it was it was within a year or two of his passing that they were filming. You and I, we need to balance each other out on this podcast. And when you lose that person who balances you out, it just leads to a worse product, right? Collaboration breeds better performance among
Results.
Everybody.
Yep.
Yeah.
He passed away in 1983 and Beyond Thunderdome came out in 1985. So, that was probably just like I don't have my friend here, but I guess I'll mount up and ride the horse one last time.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the future of Mad Max. We were saying, where the hell is the sequel? Where's Tom Hardy? I need him to come back. And we know Furiosa is coming out next year. This is interesting because it's not Mad Max. It's a spin-off thing. It's about Furiosa from Fury Road. So it's one of those Furiosa : a Mad Max story or a Mad Max legacy or whatever. And we actually got a trailer that dropped
just recently,
not too long ago. Very quickly, what are your thoughts on the trailer?
It looks like a great cast, which
I was kind of interested that they didn't do Charlize Theron.
I don't know.
Or Charlize Theron. I don't know how you pronounce it. Thinking about Fury Road, she said, I've been missing for 19 years. And I don't know. We were talking about how ageless she looks in that movie. We don't know if she's like 27 or 40. If you're 40 and you get kidnapped when you're 20, you can kind of pass and be Charlize. But if you're 27 and you got kidnapped when you're 7 or 11 or a teenager, then obviously you need a different actor to do that. So they got Anya Taylor-Joy playing Furiosa.
Because of what we just talked about, I'm more okay with it. Even with the Tom Hardy entry, is that person actually the person, or is this a story being told? The legend of that person varies, and so the actual actor matters less. For me, it doesn't ruin anything. I think what does get very almost a little dicey, and I'm excited to see them pull it off because I think they definitely can. But anytime you're going into like prequel territory, explaining a world. This is the first time we're going back in time in the series. And so there's a lot of, as anybody knows who's seen a prequel of something, there's a ton of pitfalls to get caught into, either continuity errors or not building the world as much. Based on what we know of Mad Max, this prequel area, this year of Furiosa, Max should be out there somewhere in the ether of the wasteland.
Oh yeah, and speaking of that, I think in the trailer it said 45 years after the collapse, Furiosa got kidnapped or something, and we were both confused because we thought, wait a minute, Mad Max OG 1979, it was like on the brink of the apocalypse. By the time Road Warrior comes out, which in real time is from 1979 to 1981, so it's 2 release date real world years later, we're in this crazy post-apocalyptic world. But 45 years after the collapse, Max would be like
65
years.
Best.
Yes.
Best.
He'd be like at retirement age. And then you add the other 19 years that Furiosa was in captivity, and then Tom Hardy shows up and he's looking like he's late 30s. You're thinking, wait, what is going? So can we chalk this up to the legend of Mad Max? And it's exaggerated. It's a distorted point of view. What's going on here?
We'll have to see Furiosa to see how it all pans out. But yeah, those are the sort of errors you start to run into.
I'm a big timeline guy. Like I am like,
me too.
You better stick to a time. Like, so that's why I always have to watch YouTube videos about Star Wars and the MCU and say like, wait, when did this happen in the timeline? Because how does this explain that? Marvel is like a spider web of timeline dates and justifications, and then even then you're still like the timeline doesn't match up.
Multiverse jumps in and you're back in time and you're like, I don't know.
Nonetheless, we are interested to see what Furiosa holds, and when that comes out, I think we're going to watch it and review it on this podcast. It might be our first in theaters release review, so get ready for that, Kernels.
It'd be worth it.
Okay, so let's just wrap up the franchise of the year. By the numbers, the JPI overall average score for the Mad Max franchise as of now, by the numbers, we gave the entire franchise a 7.5. And we actually landed very close to each other, Nick, on Mad Max. It seems like we were very, very in close company. Two kernels and a popcorn bucket pod. I had an average score of 7.525. You had an average score of 7.475, which comes to a very perfectly balanced, as all things should be, 7.5. But after talking about the whole philosophy and legend and saga of Mad Max and George Miller, is 7.5 an accurate rating for the entire franchise as of now, or would you slap another number on it?
I'd slap another number on it. Things that come in a package can be individually different, and then as a package they come together, and they're better than the sum of their parts. You know me, I love sports, and you could have a team of B+ players, then when they all get together, they play as an A+ team. I'd give it a full point higher. Personally, as a big old package deal, I'd say this is an 8.5 franchise. Like if it just stopped at Thunderdome, it sticks in a 7.5 for me. But especially with that, comes rip roaring back with Fury Road, and you're like, holy smokes! It just really
smacks the audience across the face with that one in a good way.
Maybe it's recency bias watching Fury Road, and if you're a listener, that's our highest rated movie on this podcast. It is that good.
Mm-hmm.
But I think an 8.5 because I think that the Fury Road just proved how timeless and dynamic this director is and the character of Max Rockatansky is.
I wholeheartedly agree. Now you're a sports guy, but I'm a food guy.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking I might rate this Wagyu steak a certain way. I might rate this garlic noodles a certain way, this glass of whiskey a certain way, and this ice cream a certain way. But put all that together in a meal, it's not individual ratings on average. It's the whole experience of the meal.
Yep.
I have to agree. I think we can comfortably say Mad Max franchise as of now, 8.5. Solid.
Very strong 8.5.
Okay, Nick, it's time to pop the corn. And what do you guys, the whole audience is like, what are you talking about? You're getting silly and crazy up on the microphone. What do you mean pop the corn?
Whoa!
This is our family-friendly version of shoot the shit. So we're going to pop the corn here.
Not so family-friendly is it anymore?
No, I'll have to bleep that out. So popcorn style discussion. We're just going to kick back and kind of pop the corn and talk about the last year of movie watching and our podcast experience and our performances. And speaking out, I'm just going to bring it up. How do you think we did on our podcast performances? Like if the audience, if the kernels, the corn dogs listening out there, if they had to give us popcorn points, what do you think they would give us of our whole year? What are you thinking here?
I did go back in preparation for this wrap episode. I went and listened to a lot of older podcasts, and whoever listened to us in season 1 and they're still with us, you
guys are champions.
We were not very good at this. We just weren't. And
yeah,
there's still a lot of room for improvement. I'm going to be very critical. If I had to give our performance, even with the progress from the start to now, considering audio quality and structure of the podcast and everything, I'm going to give us a 6.3. I think we got a long way to go. We're going to get this thing tightened up. This ship is going to be sailing smooth.
Basically, we're just as good as the movie Flubber, is what you're saying.
That is actually pretty, yeah.
No, I have to agree. I also went back, but oof, man. My goodness, I don't know what happened with the sound quality on those first ones. I'm like shocked, appalled. I'm embarrassed. If I were to give us a rating for the first 10 episodes, I would give us a 3.
Oh, that's a generous 3.
Based on the sound quality alone, it was really bad. So I apologize for that. We are constantly trying to up our game, trying to up our technology, our techniques. I just appreciate you Colonel Corn Dog sticking with me through this rough ride and these prequel years, honestly.
Trials and tribulations, my friend.
My goodness. So, and I got to bring up the taboo topic. It's the microphones. So Nick, I was like shit talking your microphone all of season 1, and I was peer pressuring you into getting a new microphone as we got into season 2, because that volcano episode, it sounded like you were in the back corner of your room, like yelling on speakerphone, and I had to like bump it up and like kill the peaks, and it was a shit show.
Now, to be fair for those, my current laptop, my 2022 MacBook Air, the screen broke and I had to use like a MacBook from 2015. And so it just couldn't handle it. It was trying, it just couldn't handle. I would have been better off just calling in on the phone with some AirPods in.
Yeah.
Trying to do that. But fun story. So without talking to each other, I had texted James. I bought the microphone. He said, which one did you go with? And I said the Sennheiser. And James goes, well, good thing, because mine's on the way as well.
And we premiered them on the same episode.
We did.
So we're always trying to correct the course. So thanks for bearing with us. Speaking of our performances, what ended up being your favorite episode to listen back to? And in addition to that question, what was your favorite episode to record in the moment?
My favorite episode to record,
or couple, doesn't have to be one.
Yeah, well, I have 2 identified. I have 2 big ones identified. My favorite to record,
we might have the same ones.
I mean, maybe. Favorite to record was definitely Cruel.
Oh, okay.
There was just so much to talk about. We had hyped it up. We had heard of this movie. It had been on a bunch of lists of, box office failures. It was this big saga, and we watched it, and I just had a blast talking about it because there was just so much going on, and there was so much to talk about. And I felt like that was one podcast, listeners will know we'll be going through plot talk, and there's nothing really exciting going on. We're not hitting you with the ha-has or the funnies. It's just very procedural. Cruel, I never felt that way. I felt like the entire time was something wild and ridiculous and crazy. And that one was a blast. My favorite to listen to was Maximum Overdrive. Call me a sadist, but I hated it so much. When that episode dropped, I was so excited to listen to it, and it didn't disappoint.
Ultra entertaining to listen back to. I picked a couple for both of these questions. So you want to pose the question to me?
Well, I'm gonna switch it up on you. I want to know what was your favorite one to listen to, and then tell me what was your favorite to record.
So to listen back to, I actually have quite a bit of season 1 episodes that I very thoroughly enjoy listening back to and reminiscing. A lot of them do have to do with bad movies. One episode in particular is My Brother the Pig. We really get deep into the weeds about the logistics and the psychiatric qualities of what if this did actually happen, and like you're just checked out, and I'm fully enjoying talking about this stupid, silly movie. It's just like, it's pure comedy, honestly. Despite with bad audio, you should go listen to it, and it's quite entertaining. Right up there is Maximum Overdrive. This is just the ultimate rippage on a movie, and it is just peak comedy, I think, that we achieved. And there's like a couple reveals and surprises, and it's just chef's kiss on that one. Right in line with that, The Wraith. Again, bad movies are just hilarious to listen back to.
I don't think necessarily just bad movies. I think confusing movies.
Yeah.
Because it's everybody just being like, what the fuck is going on?
And then right up with there, one of my favorites to listen back to, again, despite its ass audio, is War Games. Because I think this was episode 3, and it really paved the way for the spirit of this pod. I think we kind of found an identity for our chemistry, and it was just like an interesting idea from a classic movie that still holds up to some degree. It created a very engaging conversation. We were really trying to make a decent informational conversation, and I think we really got into that movie and unpacked it well. So that's like one of my favorites to listen back to.
That shocks me.
I shouldn't shock you because it's great.
What was your favorite to record, though?
Oh, man. Okay, so I'm surprised you said Kroll, because that's another just good one to listen back to. Again, bad movie, confusing, pure comedy. It's great. My favorite episodes to record in the moment was Minority Report and Angel Heart. Okay, if you watch Minority Report, I'm not bullshitting anybody here. I think you should listen to our episode on Minority Report if you're looking for an in-depth breakdown of that movie. Because I do really think, like you especially, Nick, very like high kudos to you. You were unveiling a lot of plot holes and providing answers to questions. I really think we actually had a really good conversation about that movie. It's actually informative to me, and I'm thinking, wow, like these guys sound like they know what they're talking about. When you're just giving me all these like mind-bending revelations about the movie, I was blown away, and I was like, this is the best episode ever. And then right up there and kind of in line with that is Angel Heart, a murder mystery movie. Again, I just think there was just a lot to unpack. We really got to hash it out. And you, again, like your interpretation and breakdown of that movie, I think someone can reference to and say like, what was the point of this? Or like, how did this happen? And there's actually a part that the audience doesn't know about. In the podcast, you say, oh, so-and-so touches the murder weapon of each victim, and that's a breadcrumb of who this person is. And then there was one lingering that you said, oh, but I didn't see him necessarily touch the gun because so-and-so died by a gun. And then after we stopped recording, this freaking guy across the table from me was like, I got to go back. I got to go watch that scene again. And then we watched the scene, and the suspect touches the gun, and we're like, oh my God, he touched the gun. He did it. It was just a great review and breakdown and experience.
We really watched a lot deeper movies in season 1,
and I have, yeah. And
we should get back to some of that, maybe.
I will agree. I do. I think season 2 was full of like a lot of like stinkers, and that's why it kind of digressed into like a lot of just like shit talking. My last favorite episode to record was the video game movie and TV show special.
Yeah, that was a good time.
That's a topic I love talking about, and I think it just kind of brought the most organic opinions to the table.
I did forget that about season 1. We did do a lot more deep dives instead of our talking points.
I feel like we were really trying. We were really trying to make like a good presentation. I don't think it was our fault. I really think it was season 2's slate of movies, because it was just so bad. that we just ended up ripping on most of these movies.
Yeah.
And then by the end of it, we actually got good movies and got good informative conversation.
We should have a portion of the podcast just called Real Talk at the end. We try to find like a deep seated message or meaning in the film, no matter how ridiculous.
Well, that's what I tried to do with the Wraith, and you were not playing along with me.
It was so bad.
It was horrible. But Nick, on topic of this, a la Sean Evans of Hot Ones, can you give me a Mount Rushmore of year one episodes? AKA, if you were to pitch our podcast and say, if you're going to listen to 4 episodes, listen to these 4.
Not surprising. It's pretty much our 4 highest rated movies.
Oh, okay.
So I have the 2 that you had mentioned. I have Minority Report and Angel Heart on there. I have Fury Road on there, and I have Juice.
Oh, okay. Well, so not Schindler's List.
We just didn't get that deep into the movie. It was more of a...
I think it's more like a philosophical reflection on history talk. Not philosophical, but just like, the Holocaust was bad. That was like our main takeaway.
Yeah, there's not too much we could build on top of that. But, Juice, Minority Report, Angel Heart, and Fury Road.
3 of those are season 1.
Season 1 was good.
So that's what, going back to what we were talking about, we were actually getting into like real conversations in season 1. Season 2 was just like a shit show.
What about you? Mount Rushmore.
I'm right there with you with Minority Report. Again, mind-blowing deep dive. People 100% can listen to this for a breakdown of that movie.
Mm-hmm.
I would recommend it. I think it's right up there with any other quote unquote professional YouTuber, podcaster reviewing and unpacking movies. I think we actually did a really good job despite the ass audio. Number 2, the China episode, just because it's a break in the action. We kind of get informative. We talk about geopolitical stuff and influence on Hollywood. I think we bring a lot of very interesting information to the table, and it's just a nice break in the action from our formula of here's our intro, what's poppin', corn dogs, plot talk, nitpicks, blah blah. It's just like, hey, we can actually hold a conversation.
Yeah.
And bring up topics and hopefully be entertaining about it.
And a fresh conversation in a space where that conversation doesn't happen enough.
Yeah. So fuck you, China. Number 3, I'm going to throw up Cruel, because Cruel, we never really decided on how you pronounce it, but Cruel, it's just a goofy good time unpacking an obscure movie. And it really embodies the spirit of our podcast. I think we kind of quote unquote hit our stride on that episode with our back and forth, our banter, our pacing, what we're looking for in movies, how critical we can be, how funny we can be. I think it's just like a fun, entertaining episode. Lastly, number 4, Mount Rushmore. I'm going to throw The Thing on there because this is just it's a classic movie with a modern review from 2 people that have never seen it in the 2020s. We were both coming into that movie thinking like, I don't know, it's like an 80s like horror graphic movie. Let's see how this goes.
Expecting a lot of cheese.
Yeah, but we really like that movie, and I think we had a really good conversation about it.
Yeah, go John Carpenter.
Well, hey, let's talk about the movies we watched.
Yeah.
Obviously, we can go over by the numbers our highest rated movies. So our top 3, Mad Max, Fury Road, Schindler's List, and Juice.
Very nice.
Mad Max Fury Road was the only one to hit in the 9s. Sorry, Schindler's List.
This is collective score.
This is the Just Play It score.
Yeah.
Our bottom 3, shocking. 3 of them are from season 2. It was Santa Conquers the Martians, Battlefield Earth, and finally the worst movie we watched all year, Maximum Overdrive, with a 0.25 score.
Yikes.
We're going to talk a little bit more about the movies we watched, but first, I have some fun facts.
I want to hear them.
Speaking about the worst movies we've seen all year. So we got Maximum Overdrive at the very bottom.
Yes.
The number 4 spot, we have Spawn, and a movie that was very controversial with the ratings. Subjectively, a quote unquote good movie by me, and overtly horrible movie by you was The Wraith. Nick, can you kind of like remind the audience of like what The Wraith, not what it was about, but was it cohesive?
The Wraith was not cohesive. In my opinion, very disjointed. A lot of unexplained happenings. The villain, who was clearly, obviously a murderer, and everyone in town knew was a murderer, and was like, don't tell him that he'll clearly murder you, was just out and about murdering and being a murderer. It was an odd one.
Well, The Wraith and Spawn and Maximum Overdrive, they're going to be legendary episodes of our Just Play It slate. and they were all pretty bad movies. Do you know what they all have in common?
The Wraith, Spawn,
and Maximum Overdrive.
No, I don't.
They all have a Sheen in it.
Oh.
Charlie Sheen, The Wraith, Emilio Estevez, Maximum Overdrive, Martin Sheen, Spawn. I was like, whoa, oh my God, all the Sheens are involved in some of the the most standout worst movies that we've seen.
The Sheen scene. That is wild.
Another fun fact, we actually saw 2 movies that featured a harmonica that would summon things. The harmonica summoned Jack Frost in the form of a snowman, and Jesse from Free Willy would summon an orca, killer whale, with his harmonica. So what's up with harmonicas? What's up with ancient rocks? I feel like we had a lot of stone problems.
A lot of ancient rock problems. We also had a Randy Quaid problem in The Wraith and The Adventures of Pluto Nash.
Randy Quaid is a problem. He was in 2 problematic movies. No surprise. Speaking of The Adventures of Pluto Nash, do you know what The Adventures of Pluto Nash and Battlefield Earth have in common? Besides being horrible movies?
Tell me.
Per a Vice article that is titled Battlefield Earth, the making of the worst movie of the 2000s, there was a supervising art director. He actually left the shoot of Battlefield Earth to go work on The Adventures of Pluto Nash. So he actually went from he's like, oh, this movie's so bad and horrible, I'm leaving. I'm going to Eddie Murphy. I'm going to Eddie Murphy. That's going to be way better. Not. Both 40-40 offenders.
Something I ran into doing a retrospect on some of these movies that I'm not sure we brought it up at the time in the Pluto Nash episode. But do you remember how the person on Earth, kind of the power broker on Earth, do you remember who played that part? He was just on a TV screen.
It was Alec Baldwin.
Did you know that after the screening, he's called and said, "You better not credit me. I'm so embarrassed to be in this movie."
No, I didn't.
That's why we couldn't see him on the credits. He's uncredited. He was like, do not put my name on that, whatever you do.
That's so funny. The last fun fact that I dug up after the fact, I didn't get to mention it on the Battlefield Earth episode again. But Nick, do you know what the movie Battlefield Earth and Schindler's List have in common? I should say, how are they related?
Both have to do with a religion of some sort?
Pretty close, but also according to that very same Vice article, the director of that movie, I believe it's Robert Christensen. Mm-hmm. The director says that the team aspired to make the very first pulp science film, and Travolta called it Pulp Fiction for the year 3000. He also reportedly called it the Schindler's List of science fiction.
No. What does that mean?
In quotes, like Star Wars, only better. So I gotta say, all caps, all bold, cold take. Cold take.
All caps, all bold, all underlined. Yikes, dude. What do you talk about? The science fiction?
What in the
Schindler's
L. Ron
List?
Hubbard are you smoking, Travolta? Are you kidding me?
How has he not got in trouble for saying that?
How's he not canceled?
How has no one dug that one up? My goodness.
That was wild.
Holy smokes.
Well, hey, speaking of horrible movies, do you have any thoughts, opinions on any movies that were shockingly disappointing, surprisingly disappointing? And you got any sleeper hits for me? What movies kind of were a dark horse and you didn't think was going to be good, but ended up actually being really good?
I'll start you with the disappointment. I think my biggest disappointment, and this was a movie I had seen before and I thought was good, and then rewatched it and realized how bad it was. And that is Wind Talkers. And one of the biggest disappointments watching it back was that it had such a good story to tell for a group of people who were forgotten about, who were an integral part of World War II. And you just butchered the movie so bad. That's probably my biggest disappointment. I have 2 sleepers. And I didn't think they were going to be bad.
It surprised you. You're like, wow, this was actually really good.
Number 1 was Juice.
Nice.
I had never seen it before. Absolutely love that movie. I'm surprised it's not talked about more as one of those key movies you have to see. Just the whole genre surprised me. I thought it was just going to be an urban tale drama.
When we were talking about it, you were just you were stoked about how it just flipped the switch on you. You're like, okay, all right, urban teen drama. Here we go. And then all of a sudden, psych thriller.
Dude, it is so good. My other sleeper was Angel Heart. A movie I saw as a kid, a movie you should not see as a kid. Thanks to my dad. and didn't really understand the concept of things. Like I just knew high level, like, oh, there's a devil and there's this guy and he doesn't know that's the devil. And I was like, oh, it's cool. Rewatching it, I was, kind of what you spoke about with that podcast episode. Was just there was just so much going on. Like every time you dug down another layer, there was another layer to go down. I still think about that movie every now and then. I still think about that movie. So Sleepers, Juice and Angel Heart, biggest disappointment. There's been a lot, but I think just at a core level, Wind Talkers had to be it for me. How about you, buddy?
So the movies that were shockingly bad to me this year, I'll just kind of rattle them off real quick in bullet points. I have 3. 1 is The Fifth Element. 2 is Spawn. 3 is Santa Claus Conquers the Martians.
Oh, Santa.
The Fifth Element is very famous in pop culture and people reference it a lot. I feel like the imagery is very famous, but watching the movie and actually listening back to our podcast review on it, I couldn't agree more. Like, wow, it's not a good movie. It's really bad. Spawn, I was very excited to watch this movie. I thought, holy cow, 90s. I'm looking at the poster. I'm thinking this is going to be
sick,
some sort of sci-fi channel, not really good, great quality, but I'm just going to be like, I'm going to enjoy it for the camp. I'm here for it. What I got was a giant CGI dick smacked across my face. It was appalling. The story was incomprehensible. We had this terrible, like the point of view is like from this side character narrator, but they changed everything from the comic. They whitewashed characters. I'm like, you guys did nothing right. It was offensively bad. Honorable mention, Maximum Overdrive. You kind of thought 80s horror. The title is crazy. It's Stephen King. I'm ready for some sort of but that was just like, holy shit, this is bad. Lastly, Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. This is our most previous review. Just based on the title alone, we were thinking, man, this is going to be like a crazy, stupid ass movie. I'm so here for it. But it was just like some hokey ass vanilla mayonnaise, watered down sitcom quality 1960s Nickelodeon production.
And there was no conquering.
It was zero conquering. It didn't even hold up to its name. So that movie is the most disappointing based on its title. Fifth Element was the most disappointing based on its reputation. And Spawn was just straight up disappointing.
Yep. Sleepers.
The ones that were surprisingly good, I'm going to meet you up top at the rim with Angel Heart. That was a crazy ass movie that I was not expecting to be that good.
I'm with you.
I was like, I love dark stuff. I love sick and twisted stuff. Let's go. I am here for this. I love murder mysteries. I am in it to win it. Very dark and dismal ending, but sometimes I'm here for that. The other 2 sleeper hits came out of spooky season, and that's going to be Scream and The Thing.
Yeah.
I love those 2 movies. I was thinking, okay, Scream is going to be kind of like, I don't know what to expect with Scream, but I actually really enjoyed it. We talked about the meta nature of it. It was just very enjoyable. And the reasoning for the killings was refreshing. It wasn't like a big Pluto Nash explanation at the end. Like, oh, this is actually how and why we did everything. It was like, it was great. I really enjoyed Scream. I didn't know what to expect from The Thing. And it left us with a very open-ended, great conversation ending.
Yeah, I think that's a great call. I didn't even think about that for my sleepers, but that definitely qualifies as a top-end sleeper.
And, speaking of movies that were disappointing and good, can you pick a movie that you would like to see done correctly? Just one movie. Give me like a quick summary of what you're envisioning and how it could be way better. I don't know if you're going bottom of the barrel or if you're going like mid, but just lay it on me.
A little bottom for me, a little more mid for you. You're going to love this, I think. I would like to see The Wraith done correctly because I think it could be done well. I love the cars. I like the idea of this guy coming back, picking people off in their car. It's a street racing gang, pick them off on their own territory.
I picked the same thing.
Did you? Oh, yes. Perfect.
I also picked it. I would love to see The Wraith done correctly.
Yes.
It's a very, I'm right there with you. It's like, cause it's almost kind of like Scream where this killer is picking off victims one by one. So in the Wraith movie, there's a lot of unexplained plot points and things that happen in that movie. As a spoof, almost, I tried to justify those reasons of why things unfolded. But I think if you made it in today's times, you can even do it like a retro movie. You can make it still based in the 80s, just kind of like up the up the spoof or like the satire
It'd be a lot of fun.
quality of it, or take it completely seriously. But I'm right there with you. I like the idea of someone coming back from the dead, killer car, street racing. I'm in it.
Honestly, you could make the Wraith like a spin-off of Fast and Furious. Like, I don't know if Dom Toretto dies in the last one. I haven't seen it, but if he does,
He's coming back as the Wraith.
Have him come back as the Interceptor.
It's a Chrysler and a Dodge, so it kind of makes sense.
Because I'm so down.
I think the Wraith concept is interesting and engaging, and I would love to see it done correctly, and especially if they did a retro 80s modern day take on it, it'd be awesome.
James, let me kind of give you something in the same vein. Do you have a movie we watched where maybe you thought maybe the concept was good, but maybe it was a character problem? Like, if you could recast a character in one of the movies we watched this year, what movie, what character? Like, is there a character that kind of took you out of a movie that you're like, God, if it was just someone a little better?
Spoilers. You gave me this question to think upon the last week, so I can kind of form a good answer, because it can be hard to answer this on the spot. But in the spirit of your question, is it more so like, oh, this actor was so bad, if they had this actor, it would be better? Or is it more just like, I think it would be interesting to see this person in this role? I mean, I have my answer. I'm just curious of like what.
Your call. You're a studio head. You get to remake a movie and recast the character.
Awesome. I think you particularly are going to love this answer.
I want to hear it.
Like, it's going to be like a double whammy. It's like when one friend of yours comes together with another friend of yours and become best friends. I think you're going to love this answer. So I would love to recast 1989's Batman Bruce Wayne as Mickey Rourke, baby. I think that would be top fucking tier. I think that'd be top tier. We were popping off and going off about Mickey Rourke's acting chops in Angel Heart, which is a movie from 1987. So this is 2 years before Tim Burton's 1989 Batman comes out. And Michael Keaton, I think he really just kind of filled the Batman suit. I don't think he necessarily brought anything special to the role. I think with Mickey Rourke, you kind of have that edge. You got that street cred, because he's a gangster. He's a thug. Yeah.
A little crazy in the eyes.
I'm imagining the Batman cowl over his top half of his face, and I'm thinking, he could totally fill that out. He's like a New Yorker guy. Gotham's kind of like New York, and I think he could have just brought something unique to the role. Like Jack Nicholson, he brought the Jackness to the Joker, which I think, and that's why he kind of blew Michael Keaton out of the water in that movie.
Oh yeah.
A la Heath Ledger and Christian Bale. I think if you had Mickey Rourke going toe to toe with Jack Nicholson as Bruce Wayne, I think that'd be kind of sick.
I love that.
I knew you would.
Kind of blowing my mind right now. I'm really mad it didn't happen.
Let me know who you would like to see recast in a role of a movie we watched this year.
Honestly, Keaton was one of those guys I would have loved to recast. But I was thinking to myself, but then Batman has been recasted. But I like your take on like this specific movie at this specific time.
And this actor at his time in the career.
Yeah. And I think the juxtaposition of Nicholson and Rourke would have been, I can't get over that. Then there was a lot of movies that were bad, but I'm like, another actor in there wouldn't have done it. So I actually went a little different. I didn't go with the main character, but I went with a character that I thought ruined a movie a little bit for me.
Is it Randy Quaid?
And that was Tina Turner in Beyond Thunderdome.
Wait, why? People love her in that movie.
I think you talked about it a little bit in the episode. Not a little bit, a lot of it. Wanted to bring a big name in.
Yeah, my take was that they were trying to insert. It was kind of like when Lizzo showed up in The Mandalorian. They're just like, here's a big name musician, and we're going to stick her in this role. I mean, granted, that was a small role in one episode, and this is a major role in a movie. Like, we're gonna throw in like this popular name, and not necessarily for their acting chops, but just to get them in there and get butts in the seats.
So I'm thinking, what if we had a better like evil mayor of Bartertown, someone a little more conniving? I thought to myself, what if at that time, 1985, we had like a Sigourney Weaver up in that role, a little kind of dubious, a little like ulterior motive-y.
And she's been in a bunch of movies, but the one that I go straight to is Holes. She plays an
That's
antagonist in
where
that
I
movie.
was.
Okay, yeah, she's the warden in that movie, and yeah, she's just cracking the whip and
She
just
comes off all nice,
motherly,
at first,
kind of like, oh, I'm here to take care of you, welcome in my town, blah blah blah, and then all of a sudden, cutthroat, dude.
Would Thunderdome have been a little better with maybe a more compelling villain of, Mayor of Bartertown? Maybe replace Tina Turner, go with Sigourney. That's what I came up with.
Yeah, any other kernels you want to pop before we move on here?
I was thinking, James, we watched a lot of movies. We talked a lot about endings. And during the seasons, we talked about endings that were unsatisfactory to us.
They got shafted by the studios.
And I think we're smarter than most studios here on this podcast. So I want you to give me a movie that you think would have had a great alternate ending.
Whenever someone poses a question, I have sub questions. So is this justice for the story? Is this to fix the movie? Is to make it better?
This is you personally, James. You say, this would have made the movie better for me. And the movie instead was like this.
I did jot down 4 very quick ideas, and I'll just hit you by category.
Quick fire.
Justice for the story, alternative ending, the original ending for Juice. I think we need to see Bishop voluntarily kill himself and go out on his own terms.
Yeah. Can I pause you real quick?
Yeah.
Because I was thinking the same thing, and we talked about this during Juice. It was a big, big, big sticking point for us. And actually, I did a little more research into it before this podcast, because spoiler alert, Juice is on my list as well. Tupac, when they told him about it, he goes, that's bullshit. He was so mad.
He hated it, and that's why he half-assed his ADR when he's like screaming and being dropped down. He's like, he
was like, can I just half-ass the scream?
And Ernest R. Dickerson's like F the man, fight the power.
Yep. Anyway, continue on.
To fix the movie, I would change the ending of The Burbs. This is another one that we talked about that was going to be an original ending, but the studio was like, it's too dark. You can't kill Tom Hanks. No, fucking kill Tom Hanks and just make it dark and make it a true dark comedy. I think you need to murder Tom Hanks at the end of The Burbs. To make a movie better, just kind of like enhance it a little bit. Like I touched upon when we were talking about The Thing, I would love to see that last scene play out more. You kind of hit me with a couple of hypothetical alternate endings that I think would have been cool to see. Like, wow, that was like a really dark ending. And then my last category, to make a movie a lot darker and to just like cut to black on the audience. At the end of War Games, we all die.
You're stealing my stuff, James.
So the Whopper does not have a happy ending. Everyone's not hugging and doing hair tussles. We all get nuked and murder each other.
Yeah. So let me just segue into my guys here.
Yeah, I'm done. Go ahead. What's your dream alternate endings?
So I had War Games on here as well. Maybe not all nuked and die, but maybe like 5 nukes leak out. But just tic-tac-toe breaking the machine was just such a so trash. Also had Juice for the exact same reasons you did.
Yep. One
that I came up with coming out of left field, Free Willy.
Okay, where's this going?
When everybody jumps into the water to Free Willy, to push him back in the truck and stop him from getting away, Willie just loses his mind and just just murders like 7 people and just bounces.
Oh, God. like the sheer force of like a tail whip, like kills somebody.
Tail whip, knocks a guy into the rocks of the breakers, just bam, he hits his head, squishes a couple guys, and then the kid's just sitting there just like in shock, just like, my whale friend.
The first hour and 40 minutes were PG, and then the last 10 minutes, 5 minutes are rated R.
Just really stuck it in your mind, like, do not capture a whale.
Hey, I can agree with that.
An even more wild ending, instead of Free Willy jumping up over the breakers,
oh no,
the rest of his whale family jumps into the breakers and joins in, and it's just a massacre.
And it's a fight.
It's not really a fight. Humans versus whales is not a fight.
Not even close, especially orcas.
No. Yeah, it's just a massacre. I was like, if I had to come up with a wild alternate ending to something, I chose Free Willy.
I see you have one last kernel to pop here.
I do. What movie did we watch doesn't have a sequel, but gosh darn it, it really needs one.
Okay, so I have two main answers, and I also have joke answers. I'm just going to list the joke answers off real quick.
Yeah.
Horse Sense Jumping Ship. I think we should just round out that trilogy of them doing something ridiculous like time travel. The Escape From series. We got New York. We got LA. I think we talked about it. We need an Escape from Cleveland. The Rescue of Fresno Bob. Jack Frost, I touched upon. I feel like he still needs to evolve into the Nexus being that he is and unlock his powers and become like the most OP villain that cinematic history has ever seen. Cruel? I mean, they were really kind of leading you up to a sequel, but like, I knew we weren't going to get it. My serious answers are Minority Report and, of course, My Brother the Pig. One, Minority Report.
Of course.
Minority Report, I would just love to kind of stay in that world. And I feel like they kind of wrapped up the pre-crime storyline. So I would love to see something else kind of further investigated, maybe like a relapse counter action that was like a ripple effect from the events of the original Minority Report. I think that movie is really entertaining. And we talked about the plot twist being just fast and furious, constant, and just super engaging, mind bending. I would love to spend more time in that universe. And of course, My Brother the Pig. I think we talked about it. My Butcher the Vulture. I want to see the butcher's perspective play out as a vulture. And he's like a talking vulture, and he kind of has like shenanigans with other birds, and he's talking to animals, and we can actually understand them. And it's his journey of coming back to a human and being a reformed butcher and not being like a sad asshole in a sweaty apron.
Okay.
Those are the two movies that I think need a sequel. What about you?
I also had Cruel. I think it deserved it. You took so much time to build the damn world. But
I feel like you really hated that movie.
I'm not gonna lie, I've really come around on Cruel.
Wow. Okay.
I've really come around on Cruel. But who knows? That might be a re-ranking. It might not. Probably not.
And a lot of the fans have the same reaction as I was researching on Reddit. A lot of the fans think that it's kind of like endearing and a nostalgic watch, but then when they actually watch it, you're thinking, this is like really bad. But I feel like we refer back to it so much that it's just kind of like that friend that like constantly disappoints you, but you're just like, oh, come here, buddy.
For me, it's like Johnny Rockets. I like the idea of it. And if I hadn't had Johnny Rockets in 2 years, I'm like, damn it, dude, I need to go to Johnny Rockets. I go to Johnny Rockets and I hate it. But I tell you what, James, I haven't been there in about 15 months. And I thought about it the other day. I was like, I need to go to Johnny Rockets.
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah, you think?
Just get milkshake and fries.
They're not good. But I got to go to Johnny Rockets.
Any other movies that need a sequel that don't?
Yeah, I think The Thing could have not just had a sequel. It could have had a whole series of sequels like Scream does. The end of The Thing is a helicopter with a rescue team comes in, sees the wreckage. They land. They go to check it out. They set up base. Uh-oh, what's there? Eventually, the thing gets brought back to the mainland, to a research lab. That's a whole thing. I think could have been interesting.
I have a corn to pop here. Cornspiracy. Can you?
Wow.
So we've had a whole slate of movies over the last year. Do you have any kind of like mind-bending conspiracy theories or how one movie connects to another movie? Because I have quite a few, and I might blow your mind.
So Maximum Overdrive happens, right? And eventually in Maximum Overdrive, just the comet's storm passes over Earth. You know, that's what the last title card tells us. Except one of them doesn't. One of them actually crashes into the Earth in a desert next to a boy who had just been murdered.
I see where this is going.
And this comet takes over a Dodge Interceptor.
So kind of sentient cars and the murderous car. Okay, I see where this is going.
But wait, it exacts its revenge. Once the heat is a little too much and it realizes it's just one car, it doesn't have the whole fleet, it takes off into the desert, runs itself into an army base somewhere, Area 51, into a high-level, high-security base. And all of a sudden, this scientist who's working on this machine to simulate war, it's working just fine. Oh, a kid breaks into the jail, breaks the back door. No, the kid lets loose this same alien from the Maximum Overdrive comet into the nuclear war machine until it's defeated by tic-tac-toe. It's not very smart. We know that. Finally, it gets destroyed, except it doesn't get destroyed. At the end of that movie, what you don't see after the credits is they clear the room. This machine's destroyed, this evil AI, and they take it out of the machine, and it gets brought into a secret government research lab, and they're making an AI to fly in a fighter jet. Yes, James, what I'm telling you is that the same evil energy from the comet in Maximum Overdrive is the same AI, quote unquote, that is flying in stealth.
Wow.
After its long journey through sentient machinery.
And then it got a taste for the band Incubus after all that.
Always had it.
Okay, so I actually thought when you said it went to a research lab in the desert, I thought you were going to make a Hulk connection.
No. It realized that it had to go from sentient machinery to quote unquote AI. But it's not AI. It's the same shit it's always been.
I mean, what's the difference between AI and sentient machines?
We'll find out, I guess, here in a few years. Your turn. You take it away.
I have quite a bit of cornspiracy here. So I'm just going to hit you bullet point by bullet point. Let's just start off simple here. The green goo that is sprayed onto Al Simmons in Spawn is actually a weaponized version of Flubber that Martin Sheen's Jason Wynn got a hold of.
Oh.
They both take place in 1997. The Adventures of Pluto Nash and The Fifth Element take place in the same universe because Corbin Dallas, who lives on Earth in the year 2263, states that his mom lives on the moon. And in Pluto Nash, Earth is in the beginning stages of expanding human colonies on the moon. So 200 years later, I'm sure they've covered the moon by now with housing and businesses. So, hey, who's to say Mrs. Dallas is not partying at the historic and vintage Club Pluto on the moon? Now, with that, I believe that Maximum Overdrive also takes place in the same universe as Pluto Nash and the Fifth Element because the evil deathball planet moon thing, is able to communicate and manipulate earthbound beings and technology, which is the major conflict in that Stephen King movie. I believe that may have been capital E evil behind the sentient possessed truck and random electronics through its telekinesis powers.
Oh.
Right? Because we were talking about in the Fifth Element, okay, evil can call people on the phones. It can just do this. It can manipulate humans. Like, it just seems like it's this omnipresent, all-powerful being. Who's to say it's not behind the evil trucks in Maximum Overdrive?
Oh.
All right, now I'm going to hit you with a couple in-depth ones that might just blow your mind.
I'm here for it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Michael Madsen theory. Okay, so Michael Madsen, who allegedly plays two different characters in War Games and Free Willy. So we have Steve in War Games. You may remember this guy from the introductory scene. There's this nuclear base, and it focuses on two technicians that are the guys who turn the keys to fire off a nuclear warhead. It's a fire drill, essentially. And he actually pulls a gun on his coworker who didn't fire the nuke because he emotionally didn't have the heart to turn the key and fire the nuke. Shortly after this, Steve is laid off, and his job is actually replaced by a computer known as the Whopper. Upon further investigation by the military, Steve is dishonorably discharged for pulling a firearm on his coworker and is now wanted by the military. After the military takes everything from him, he intends to find the creator of the Whopper and confronts his ass. So Steve trailblazes the same detective path that David Lightman will eventually uncover about Stephen Falcon, the creator of Whopper, and who's actually not dead. He will track him all the way down to Salem, Oregon, where Falcon gives him the same pessimistic spiel about how nothing matters and we're all going to die and who cares. After getting this bleak, mind-opening, all-is-lost perspective, Steve decides to pursue his dream and settle down with a family until the end of the world comes. He changes his name to Glenn Greenwood, which is already like a phony-ass sounding name, moves to a nearby Pacific Northwest coastal town, ends up opening a gas station with a tow truck, and meets his wife. But they can't have kids due to Steve, aka Glenn, becoming infertile due to the nuclear exposure from the time working at a nuclear bomb base.
Oh, shit.
So then he adopts a kid named Jesse, who ends up stealing a whale from a marine park, and Madsen ultimately embraces his core mission of his post-firing experience from the military of rebelling against the system and defying authority. Do you have anything to like kind of
No, that was absolutely airtight.
Okay.
That was one of the most airtight conspiracies I've ever heard. And I'm 100% in on that. I don't have any questions. I can't poke a hole in it. I wish I could. I can't top that. I have a silly one. I have two silly ones.
Hit me with a silly one, and then I'll hit you with my big one.
I have the Andrew Lawrence movie timeline. So we've seen him in 3 movies now. I think that after Horse Sense, I think that Michael, his whole thing about, oh, this is a protected land, I think it was bullshit. I think that fell through because this kid was just a fuck up. And I think that didn't work. I think the family they moved to the cold. He becomes friends with our boy in Jack Frost. And that is why he was so excited to go on this tropical vacation with Michael. Tommy Biggs was. Because he was stuck.
Oh, it takes place.
Same universe. My other silly one before I let you blow my mind even further is I believe the Martians and Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. I think Santa made their society so soft, so darn soft, that eventually they have to reassert themselves. These are the same aliens and signs who end up coming for the invasion.
And they just they evolved physically, and is there some sort of like interstellar time travel? Like we are aging and progressing our society at 100x the rate that you are.
So they took Santa's toy making technology and prowess, and once they decided they were getting soft, they decided to apply that to their military and space exploration.
Mm-hmm.
Right, this little toy shop that he had that was pumping out toys, all of a sudden it's pumping out spaceship parts, and it gets these guys ready to roll. They may have come back down to look for Santa again. That may have been their whole point in Signs. That's why they weren't really killing anybody unless you attacked them first. They're just looking for Santa.
They're trying to make signs in the polar ice caps in the North Pole, but it just melts away. So then they're like, we got to do crop circles.
In their language, the signs meant "Bring me Santa." If there was a Signs 2, it would be like Signs 2, Where'd Santa Go? It'd be a Christmas movie.
Signs 2, The Search for Santa.
He is their god.
I got one last conspiracy for you. I feel like this might be the best, and I'm saving it for last. Yes, even over the Michael Madsen theory. The harmonica that Jack Frost bought from a random shop on the day his son was born, that will eventually reincarnate him as a snowman, was secretly fueled by satanic magic. Nick, you said it yourself, that being trapped in the snowman's body seems like a personal hell, almost a form of torture. So going back to season 1, there was a little movie called Angel Heart, where people sold their souls to the devil and voodoo magic ran amok. So I got a PC principle warning. Voodoo is constantly stereotyped in pop culture, although there are animal sacrifices in voodoo religion, and voodooists believe in the idea of possession, that they could be possessed by spirits. Hollywood, Western pop culture, they kind of paint the picture that voodoo is in line with evil spirits, Satanism, and witchcraft. Angel Heart kind of leans into that stereotype. I'm merely operating in the parameters of the world that I live in, which is full of movies that embrace stereotypes. So with that said, anyway, there's a bunch of voodoo witchcraft magic in the movie Angel Heart. There's a character named Toots Sweet, who is a voodooist and a follower of this soul-possessing religion. He's also a blues guitarist and provides music for these spiritual rituals, which we see in the movie. You know who else is a blues musician? Jack Frost.
No.
There's a harmonicist in the Toots Sweet band, and I believe that this very harmonica, had once been involved in one of these voodoo rituals portrayed in the movie Angel Heart. Following the murder of Toots Sweet, spoilers, his band broke up. The harmonica was sold to a pawn shop from 1955 to 1998. It has spiritually made its own way from New Orleans to Medford, Colorado, where it was then purchased by a Jack Frost at an antique shop. This voodoo entangled harmonica explains how Jack Frost came back post-death through the power of blues and the phenomenon of spirit possession. Did I blow your mind, or did I blow your mind? Did I just justify the magic of Jack Frost, or what, baby?
I mean, you didn't blow my mind. You just made things make sense, is all you did.
This just in, Nick's rating of Jack Frost is now an 8.
My goodness, James.
I had time to think about this stuff.
We need to start making what I would refer to as connector movies.
Like unwanted, unasked for.
Connector short films. Just a nice little 15 minutes of connecting two movies that should not be connected.
And there could be like a cool artistic, like here's the family fun, typical cinematography and sound score and then all of a sudden you transition into a noir setting of Angel Heart very gradually and organically, I might add, because we're connecting the movies.
And we're professionals.
100%.
Wow.
Do you need a kind of have a therapy session after that one, or
Yeah, I'm gonna have to sit on that one. I'm 100% all in on that. So you're saying in your hypothetical Jack Frost 2, when he comes back and starts to fully bring on the true form of the
Jack
spirit
Frost.
of Jack Frost, the demonic soul possessing spirit of Jack Frost, the next time he comes back, it won't be so kind. Is that what your thought is?
possibly
Kind of distort a little bit.
it might be the 1997 Jack Frost coming in, the horror movie Jack Frost.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe that 97 Jack Frost is the sequel. And then the third movie, he has his whole redemption arc and he's like a floating being in the air and just like unleashes powers for good. Basically, what I'm saying is that call it now, mark it down, just play it. Jack Frost, Michael Keaton, the George Clooney inspired Jim Henson puppet snowman will show up in Marvel's Avengers Secret Wars.
As a satanic harmonica demon. Jack Frost the snowman coming for you, and you just hear like this light harmonica playing in the background as he's like creeping around corners. Oh, that would be good.
That's all I got for Cornspiracy.
Man, well, that was well done.
Kind of in line with this, hypotheticals. We mentioned in the Thing podcast, what if Flubber went up against the Thing? You said the Thing would win. Can you kind of unpack that for me a little bit? Flubber's OP. Let's not get it twisted. And so is the Thing.
Flubber's OP, but let's imagine a world where the Thing gets a hold of Flubber.
Let me stop you right there. So the Thing's whole anatomy, which is not explained, but from what we can understand, it's not some bullshit, vague idea of evil or maximum overdrive where, oh, we take over trucks. Oh, we can actually take over guns. Oh, we can take over electronic. It's like, what's your parameters of your powers? So from what we can gather from the Thing, it can assimilate organic beings and animals, humans, but Flubber is a chemical experiment. So can it actually assimilate Flubber? At the end of the day, we're all atoms, we're all carbon, we're oxygen, we're H2O. So I guess technically you could say like we're all just elements, but it seems like the Thing is more in line with organisms, whereas Flubber is just like a science experiment. So could it assimilate Flubber is what I'm saying. I don't think it could.
I don't think we know the parameters of the Thing enough. We just saw it around organic matter.
The Thing and Flubber can both multiply. The Thing seems unstoppable. Flubber is literally just like inertia, just like when it bounces off something, it just gains more energy. Like we're going into crazy territory here.
The thing I have a question about with Flubber, right, that we don't know about Flubber is when it multiplies, is it a hive mind? So could it multiply into 20 Flubbers? If the Thing gets hold of one Flubber, is it a hive mind where it's like, I control this one Flubber, or now I control, like, does it have a singular sentient mind? Because in the Flubber dance scene, they're all dancing together.
They're very coordinated.
Either they're really good dancers, or there's a central controlling, neurons firing. So does the Thing just need to get a hold of that?
I think Flubber is a super evolved element, like on the periodic table. It's a combination of a bunch of elements that has turned into a supreme sentient element. So with that, if you're just saying like, is one oxygen different from the other oxygen? No, it's all oxygen. So I think one Flubber is the other Flubber.
Flubber, yeah, it's just a makeup of chemicals, but there is a hive mind somewhere because it has a personality.
Let me hit you with this, because Flubber like comes out the gates like quirky,
swinging.
It knows like human pop culture. It knows like human experience. It knows how to emote. It knows
comedy.
It knows comedy. Whereas the Thing, it's a very dangerous thing. It can take on your form. It can multiply. But Flubber kind of seems like I'm just here to fuck shit up and no one can stop me. Not even the Thing. If Flubber knew the bad intentions of the Thing, it might stop it. Or it might have an open mind and just see the Thing as a survivalist.
Here's the hard part. We know about the Thing. The only thing that can truly kill the Thing is fire. How does Flubber do with fire? Do we know? Was that?
I feel like Flubber is unstoppable because it's also used in internal combustion engines. So I feel like it can withstand high velocity and explosions and high temperatures.
I mean, Flubber is OP. There's no question about it.
This might be an impossible question to answer, but I'm thinking Flubber can go toe to toe with John Carpenter's The Thing.
I think I agree. Now I came up with something better. Who would win, The Thing or Jack Frost?
1998, Michael Keaton, Jack Frost. I think The Thing might literally just kill it, but but is Jack Frost killable because he goes out on his own terms? However, like I touched upon, I think he needs to further explore his powers, like almost 11 from Stranger Things, the situation. He just holds out his twig stick hand, like a force hand and like a Sith Lord, and then just like explodes the thing.
That was my thought.
Fire will kill the Thing and a snowman, though.
But the Thing can't assimilate into Jack Frost.
Because it's snow.
It's just snow. So...
Snow.
Are we just locked into a battle till the end of time?
Yeah, we're in a tic-tac-toe situation. A la War Games.
Yikes.
Who would win in a fight? Deacon Frost or Jack Frost?
I think Jack Frost. Deacon Frost, what are you going to do? Draw blood from him? You can't. He's a snowman.
No.
You can't kill him with your conventional powers.
If it was like an outlast the other player situation, Jack Frost. Because all he needs is the cold, but Deacon Frost continuously needs blood.
I'm trying to think of how you harm Jack Frost, and he doesn't really have a core weakness.
Well, we were talking about it in the episode. He's very indestructible. He gets run over. He can spread his body parts apart and then come back together as one. Although Deacon Frost can do the same because he does Slinky when he becomes Lamagra.
Okay, are we talking Lamagra version of Deacon Frost?
No. Base level Deacon Frost, base level Jack Frost.
I think if they were both locked in a room till the end of time, Deacon Frost would die because he doesn't have any blood to drink.
And Jack Frost would go out on his own terms.
Yeah.
Speaking of Blade, who would win the fight, Blade or Spawn?
I had this written down, and unfortunately, I think it's Spawn.
I think it's Spawn too.
His suit's just way overpowered.
Yeah, and again, the movie Spawn was trash cans, and Blade was pretty good. But I think just the power set of Spawn versus Blade, I think Spawn wins because he's just a hellbound spirit that is just sent. He's a demon, basically.
Yeah, I had one, the jet plane from Stealth or the Sword of Damocles.
So the Sword of Damocles is a one-hit wonder. So you can hit the button and everything shuts down. And it's kind of like all right, well, now the entire world is screwed. Whereas the stealth plane, Eddie, at a certain point, he needs to go back to a base and refuel and get more weapons, get more ammo. So I feel like Eddie can do more, quote unquote, but the Sword of Damocles can do more damage ultimately.
Damage, please.
Speaking of that, what's a more overpowered weapon, the Sword of Damocles or the glaive?
The glaive doesn't require electricity or power, so it's the glaive.
Well, I was going to say, the Sword of Damocles will decimate all of Earth's electronics. It'll send it back into the Dark Ages. So anybody can use that. It's dangerous in anyone's hands. But if you have the glaive, which does need to choose you, it's basically a sentient... what'd you call it? The thing that the Beyblade? It's a sentient Beyblade.
It is, yeah. Which is dangerous.
Last one for you. Who would win in a fight? Immortan Joe or Joe Enders? Let's just say they have like their full power. They have their full powers, their full shticks. Immortan Joe has his monster truck, double cab Cadillac, Coupe de Ville, whatever the hell it is. And Joe Enders just has his unlimited ammo.
Yeah, I was going to say Joe Enders with the unlimited ammo.
So it's Nick Cage.
Yeah, he just gets to hold the trigger down. Immortan Joe in and of himself is not impressive to me. I would have liked to hear Immortan Joe or Toe Cutter.
So do they have their vehicles, or are they just like or is this a Frost situation where you just throw them in a box?
Frost situation. It's a cage
1v1
match.
Oh, it's Toe Cutter.
Gotta be Toe Cutter.
Because Immortan Joe is weak and sickly, and Toe Cutter is just back in town, horny and raring to go.
Yeah,
he's gonna bite some toes off. He's gonna cut his toes.
Yeah, he's definitely a big time problem. I'd one last one for you: Snake Plissken or Blaster.
Okay, so it depends on the situation. It depends on
in the Thunderdome.
I feel like it's Snake Plissken because he took
Two
on
men enter, one man leaves.
I think it's Snake Plissken because he took on that behemoth in Escape from New York with the bat fight.
I forgot about the bat fight.
And that's basically what Blaster is. He's basically just like a dumb behemoth. And then in Escape from LA, of course, he was hooping. So Snake Plissken, all around badass, knows how to get out of any situation, can defeat Blaster, no problem.
Perfect. All right, we could have one of the weebs too. We could have Marty Wolf versus Map to the Stars Eddie.
Marty Wolf. He's a dog.
Yes, a dog.
He's a dog, dude. That final act of Big Fat Liar, nothing was going to stop him from making that movie shoot. Map to the Stars Eddie is a bitch.
He's kind of a bitch.
To wrap up Pop the Corn, let's talk about the mythical crunchy bucket. Will a movie ever be a 10? Is that even possible, Nick?
Yes, it is possible for a movie to be a 10.
Okay.
Do I think we will review it on this podcast? No.
Do you have movies in mind that can be a 10 off the bat, or are you thinking it has to come up naturally? And you're thinking, wow, this is actually really good.
I have two 10s. I have two 10s that I've not viewed under our microscope, but I believe in my heart are 10s.
I feel like picking your favorite color, picking your favorite whatever, your favorite movie is always an impossible and ever evolving question. And I feel like there just can never be like a definitive answer. But I think I like the idea of believing that there is a mythical crunchy bucket of popcorn 10 out there.
Yeah.
All right, Nick, I think we need to move on to quiz time. Here's how it's going to work. We're going to have 3 quiz types. One is going to be a visual quiz. So sorry if you're listening on the podcast, we will try and describe what's happening on screen as much as we can. The second round is going to be a multiple choice. Nick is going to pick categories for me to answer. I'm going to pick categories for him to answer. And then the final round will be a lightning round where we are just rattling off questions and rattling off answers. Here's how it's gonna pan out for the scores and prizes. For the visual quiz, we have 10 questions, 2 possible points each. Winner of that round will get a corn dog. The multiple choice, we're going to have 2 rounds of 6 questions. There's going to be 1 point for every correct answer in the first round. However, in the second round, it's going to be 2 points each, but a -1 for every wrong answer.
Ooh.
And then for our lightning popping off round, popcorn pop off round, it's going to be 1 point for every correct answer. No penalties for wrong answers. Here is my visual quiz for you. We're going to go panel by panel. We have 10 slides, and they're going to be characters from movies. And for 1 point, you need to give me the character name. And then for the second point, you need to give me the actor's name.
So I get 1 point per.
1 point for the correct character name and 1 point for the correct actor name. And please describe it to the audience of who you're looking at, what they look like, what movie you think this is from. Are they and these can range from side characters to main characters.
Perfect. You ready?
I'm ready.
We have our first character here. This is the bartender or the bar owner, the club owner in Pluto Nash during the opening scene. This is Jay Moore.
Correct.
I know that for a fact.
That's 1 point.
The name of the character.
This is going to be where it gets you.
I want to say his name was Tony, but I don't remember his last name.
I do kind of need a last name.
Tony.
Oh my God, you're so close.
Simone. I don't know. I don't remember the last name.
Oh my God. This is Anthony Frankowski. And then Pluto Nash motivates him to change his name to a more sexy Italian name of Tony Francis.
Tony Francis.
I'm going to give you a half point. I'm going to give you a half point on that. I'm going to give you a 1.5.
Nice.
All right, next slide. What are we looking at here?
I know this so well. I know this.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We are looking at the nerdy mechanic guy from The Wraith. This is Clint Howard as Rughead.
2-pointer. Let's go.
Here we are looking at the female love interest / daughter of Harry Angel from Angel Heart. The name, oh my gosh, from the Cosby Show. Oh no, I'm forgetting the name. I'm forgetting both names.
This is how I thought it would get you. You're thinking you should know this, but you don't.
Claire Huxtable.
Okay.
I don't know either.
Oh,
I gotta move on from this.
This is Lisa Bonet playing Epiphany Proudfoot from the movie Angel Heart.
Lisa Bonet. Oh, that is upsetting.
Yeah.
In the moment, I should have known that. All right, moving on. Oh, This is Blade, right? Is this Blade?
You tell me, man. You tell me.
I think this is one of the vampires from Blade. We called out someone No. Did we call out an extra who was in the crowd who we should know? I don't know this. I don't know this at all.
Are you giving up on this one?
I'm giving up on this one.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a back-to-back goose egg donut. This is Romero from Escape from New York, played by the late great Frank Doubleday.
I wouldn't have got that. There's not a chance in the world.
We called him out in the podcast.
I believe you.
Let's keep the train moving.
This is our child actor from Free Willy.
Mm-hmm.
And this is... Oh, no.
Did you forget the character name?
Dude, I'm panicking.
I said it in my Cornspiracy spiel about Michael Madsen.
Is this Jesse?
Boom, baby. 1 pointer.
It's Jesse.
Let's go.
And this is...
The actor name, I don't know if you'll get. I feel like you won't get it.
James Robinson or something. I don't know.
You know what? Honestly, that was a pretty great guess. I'm going to give you 0.3 points for getting James because this actor is named Jason James Richter.
Okay. All right.
I'll give you 0.3, man. 1.3 on that one. I was, you know what? Way to pull from behind on that one. These first 5, I want to say, were from season 1. The back half of this visual quiz, these are characters from season 2. Let's keep the train rolling.
Let's do it. So we have Don Cheadle and Volcano.
Boom.
Here. This
Easy.
is,
Easy.
Character name, not a chance I remember. I'm not even going to guess.
I know. I wouldn't have known it either. Don Cheadle plays a character named Emmett Reese in the forgettable movie of Volcano.
We're moving on to Scream.
What scene is this from in Scream?
This is right after they have sex. And then Ghostface jumps in, stabs him.
This is a very highly possible 2-pointer here. I feel like you can get this if you dig deep.
This is Billy.
Ding, 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 ding.
This is Billy. And God, his name's really funny.
Yep. You can do it. I believe in you. I inserted audio jokes and sound clips based on his name. You could do this.
Skeet. This is Skeet.
What's the last name?
Skeet Ulrich.
Yes. This is Skeet Ulrich.
369. Damn good.
Nicely done.
Get wrecked.
2-pointer. We're back in the game. This is easy.
This is Map to the Stars Eddie. This is Steve Buscemi.
Yeah. Okay. As soon as you knew him by name in our last category, our conversation topic, I was like, okay, he's going to easily get this one.
Map to the Stars Eddie is Steve Buscemi
from Escape from Los Angeles. Escape from LA.
Yes.
Obviously.
This is...
You got this.
I'm seeing a disheveled man, kind of beard, hair's kind of been white guys. He's been through some hell recently, maybe a bit of a black eye. Is this The Thing?
This is The Thing.
So this is The Thing. Who is this? I don't have it.
A 0-0?
0-0.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, so I called this guy out specifically. This is the character of Windows from The Thing, and he's played by Thomas Waits.
Yes.
Very unfortunate to miss out on the Tom Waits points here.
It is.
Okay, we're gonna end it strong. Let's go, Nick. What are you seeing on screen?
I'm seeing Tommy from Jumping Ship. And this is I don't want to lose this from which Lawrence brother this is, because I want to. This is Joey Lawrence.
This is Joey Lawrence. However, this is not Tommy.
No, sorry, that's not.
I'll give you a redo.
That's Michael.
Last name?
Michael Woods.
Boom, baby. 2 points. Let's go. Let's go.
All right.
So let's tally your points here. I mean, you got a 19.6 out of 20. Wait, how does that work out?
No, something's wrong there.
Wait a minute. Okay, you got 11.8.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
I was like, wait.
Where'd the 0.6 come from?
I was like, wait, what? I think I was actually adding it as we were going, and then I didn't clear out the calculator.
Gotcha.
For the corn dog, what do you got for me, Nick?
This visual quiz for you. Now,
each
question is worth 2 points. The reason I only did 10 was because it was a little hard to get these visuals. What I did, without giving them away, I took your laughable log lines from these 10 movies and placed them into an AI image generator.
No way. Let's go.
What you are going to have to do is tell me what movie the AI image generator is describing based on your laughable logline.
Oh my God. Okay.
I will give you a point, even if you get it wrong, if I like your answer and I think it's close enough. Are you ready?
Wait, where's the other point come from? If it's worth 2.
There's 10 points worth 2, so it's 20 total.
Oh, so they're just worth 2.
They're just worth 2.
Okay.
Some of them
got
just...
got it.
I plugged all of them in, and some of them just didn't work, so I had to settle on 10.
Oh man!
But if I like your answer, I'm going to give you a bonus point.
I'm gonna have to dig deep for the laughable log lines I said over the year. But let's do it.
Are you ready?
Hit me.
What movie is this, my friend?
Okay, well, a couple movies are coming to mind just based on the visual alone, but I gotta say to the audience, this is a fucked up looking visual. So it looks like we have some sort of like desert horizon. There's a car in the background, and there's a shirtless guy in the foreground. There's like is that like a skateboard emoji at the bottom? What is that?
That is a watermark. You'll see that on all the pictures.
Oh my God. I gotta say, dude, this is fucked up. What the hell am I looking at? This. I'm gonna say this is Mad Max. I think my laughable log line was like a disgruntled cop says that all the road causes all of his problems, and then at the end of the movie he joins the road.
Sorry, my friend. Unfortunately, this is The Wraith.
No. A murder victim comes back from the dead as a different person, but he's also a car to seek revenge on the street racing gang that forces motorists on the highways of Arizona to race for pink slips. That was my other answer. I was thinking this is either Mad Max or The Wraith.
So here's what I'm going to have you do from here on out and change the rules. You're going to give me 2 answers because these are pretty fucked up.
Yeah, this is kind of hard.
You're going to give me your number 1 answer and you're going to give me your backup answer.
Okay, so with that being my backup answer, is that 1 point?
It's 1 point.
Okay, so 2 points is if I nail it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, you ready for the next one?
I'm ready to guess. I don't know. Okay, so all the people in these images are kind of slightly off in the face. It looks like we have this like noir melancholy guy like in front of a piano. And there's like a teapot, there's like a vase like on, and there's like
I don't know what that is on.
What the fuck am I looking at? Oh my God, what did I like this isn't telling me anything visually that happened in the plot, but I am just kind of going off like what vibe and feeling this is.
Uh-huh. You got this. You said a word in your description of the
I know,
picture.
and I'm trying to think of how I describe that word. I'm trying to think of what movie I used to describe. My first guess is going to be Mad Max.
Give me your second guess.
Oh, okay, my second guess is going to be...
This is such a fucked up quiz.
Oh my God, I'm having so much trouble. I know, this doesn't match up with anything. Dude, I'm so lost. Holy shit. Dude, I'm crumbling. I'm struggling here. I'm
I could tell.
God damn it. I remember Wind Talkers?
That is incorrect. The movie on the screen, or the fucked up AI image on the screen, is for Angel Heart.
A 1950s chicken-fearing private detective is hired by the devil to find a crooner and unknowingly bangs his kid.
Angel Heart.
Oh,
you described it earlier with the harmonica, where you were like, it turns into a fucked up noir film, and you described the picture itself as noir. So
I thought
you had
it. I got hung up on melancholy. I thought that was the word you were referring to.
No, it was noir.
I should have said Angel Heart. Yeah,
right.
That would have been
next
more.
The next one's super fucked up.
Okay, here we go.
I'm so sorry, James.
Okay, this looks like if someone ran a Despicable Me character through a realistic generator. I'm just gonna say Hulk.
No.
Oh, come on. What? This looks like this is a green guy.
Think of that color.
Flubber?
This is Flubber.
Wait, what did I say for my laughable log line? And why am I looking at some pasty ass face looking... A college professor with severe memory problems accidentally invents a sentient green blubber that defies the laws of physics and is the get-rich-quick solution to saving a financially failing private college. So what is wrong with this guy's eyes? What's wrong with his eye indents?
Dude, AI is fucked up, dude.
looks like I'm looking at a pasty, like no facial hair. Like, what is this? What is this? My quiz was hella easy. What the hell am I looking at?
Next one.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. It looks like I'm looking at there's 3 African-American females. They're almost kind of like in a Charlie's Angels positioning. What the? Okay. Is this anywhere close to like what it should be at least?
No, it's just what popped out, dude.
Okay. This quiz is scuffed, dude. I'm just gonna say juice.
This is juice.
Yes, let's go. Let's go. 4 teenagers dabble in petty crime, which escalates quickly when one drinks too much of that juice and juices the neighborhood and his closest friends and ends up juiced himself.
Yeah, AI didn't have a gender for it, dude. It just
2 pointers. Let's go. Let's go, baby. Okay, what the fuck? I'm looking at a guy. He's a military guy. He's wearing a helmet. Wind Talkers.
This is Wind Talkers.
Screw it. I'm going to do it live. The Navajo language is used as a coded messaging system in World War II, where Navajo members are brought in to serve their country. And here comes Nicolas Cage about to kill a bunch of Japanese soldiers with infinite ammo. Just to give a little disturbing detail about the face, let me just zoom in here. Why does he look like a possessed demon zombie? He's like eye caverns and like red eye. What the hell am I looking at?
He has a bullet hole through the forehead of his helmet too.
This is obviously Joe Enders. So, okay. So I got back-to-back 2 pointers here. Let's go. I'm back in the game.
Yes, you did.
I'm back in the game, baby. I'm looking at 2 again. This is gender bending. I got 2 females. And it kind of looks like a fucked up, like not realistic because it's almost like abstract. There's like cows and like it's very dismal and creepy looking. Actually, there's like a dead tree in the background. There's a brown field and there's like 2 4-legged mammals. Like I guess they look like cows or buffalo, but I guess they're horses. So I'm just gonna say horse sense. This
is horse sense.
Yes. A dickhead city slicker neglects the crap out of his wholesome country kid cousin to the point where he is sent to work on his aunt's financially failing ranch to hopefully learn a valuable lesson in being a decent human being.
These middle ones are, yeah. So you're getting them now.
Okay. 2 points, 2 points, 2 points. Let's go. Okay, so this looks like like in movies when you clone something and then it doesn't come out quite right.
Yeah.
This looks like if a factory said, "Hey, we're going to clone a bunch of white children, and they're all going to be either cross-eyed or have huge eyes, and they're going to have 0 eyelids, and we're going to stage them in like some sort of like." Oh, I'm looking at them. We're looking at like a group of children that are kind of like they're staged kind of like a old school 80s, almost hand-drawn painted poster, like adventure movie. There is like some sort of like eclipse or sun background in the top right that I'm looking at there. So like immediately I'm getting like Signs vibes, but just based on the information of this AI generated image, we got a group of kids. So it's like, is this Beyond Thunderdome or is this... Oh man, but Big Fat Liar also has to deal with kids. Like, what the fuck am I looking at? If this is Jumping Ship, I'm going to be pissed off because this has nothing to do with that.
I'll let you know right now. It is not Jumping Ship.
Okay. Okay. First guess is Signs.
It is not. Second guess.
Second guess is My Brother the Pig.
I'm sorry. You did call it out in your thoughts. This is somehow Big Fat Liar.
I need to know what I said for my laughable log line. A kid liar is duped by an even bigger adult liar, and they spend the movie trying to outlie each other until one of them has to tell the truth. Okay, how the hell is this Big Fat Liar?
Next picture.
What the hell is... What am I looking at?
He ain't got no legs, Lieutenant Dan.
It's like 2 military personnel torsos that are like behind each other. They're like kind of posted up against a concrete wall. Nick, I feel like I need a hint on this one.
You're kind of on the path
with military.
I'll tell you this one. They're looking for someone.
They?
Yeah, I guess those are two people.
Like they in this image, or like is it actually a they in the movie?
Both. Image ain't bad here.
I mean, that gives me nothing, but I guess I'm just gonna guess Escape from New York.
It is not Escape from New York.
Battlefield Earth.
It is not Battlefield Earth. This is Minority Report.
What the? Okay, how the hell is that Minority Report?
They're going after Tom Cruise.
In the near future, 3 precognitive milk bath slaves predict murders for a special police force, but they didn't see the ultimate betrayal coming. This is impossible. For the audience, it looks like a 7-year-old kid in the background. He's peeking around some sort of like console, like not quite circuit board. It's like a very blurry. It kind of actually looks like if SpongeBob was wearing glasses and had like a handlebar mustache. But for whatever reason, it just reminds me of like a computer console thing. Okay, immediately I'm just gonna go with my gut. War Games?
This is War Games.
Yes! Let's go. U.S. military integrates cutting-edge computer technology into their arsenal, but an Achilles heel in the system ropes in a high school hacker, sparking mass war hysteria and hilarity. Let's go. 2 points, baby. 2 points.
All right, last one. I don't remember this, but I think it's fucked up.
Okay. I'm getting a gut reaction answer, which I feel like has been my saving grace on this fucked up AI quiz. I have 2 guesses.
Okay.
My first guess, going with my heart and my gut, is going to be Santa Claus Conquers the Martians.
It is not Santa Claus Conquers the Martians.
Okay, all right. I feel like my second guess could be the 1-pointer saving grace, or it could be I do have an honorary mention, but I guess I'll go with Battlefield Earth.
It is not. Give me the honorary mention. I'll give you a point on the honorary mention.
Kroll?
I'm sorry, my friend.
I was originally gonna say Signs, but I just switched it to Kroll just based on the ridiculousness.
This is The Fifth Element.
Oh my god. Okay, all right. 0 points. The hand of a turtle robot alien is enough DNA to generate a human clone, restoring what is the supreme being that is here to save us from a broad evil from outer space and Gary Oldman's haircut. How'd I do on that one?
All right, you have ended the round with 10.
Oh man. So you beat me at 11.8. Nick wins the visual quiz round 1 category. Nick, when you come into town over the holiday break, I'm buying you a corn dog. You earned it.
Oh, and what a sweet, sweet corn dog it will be.
Very on brand for us. What's also on brand is that the winner of this round will get a microwave popcorn 6-pack. Let me just tell you right now, I like the Skinny Pop brand. You might as well just cue that up for me because I'm going to win this round. Okay, my quiz was way harder to answer than yours.
I got the idea laying in bed one night. I was just like looking at some fucked up AI image generations, and I was like, what if I give it just a terrible prompt? And I was like, oh, dude, our laughable log lines. That's just what it comes up with. That's what we're competing with, people. That's AI.
That's a great one. Let's hit the multiple choice round. We'll go category by category. So you give me your first category of multiple choice. I'll answer your questions. We'll flip flop and then we'll go into round 2.
Sounds good.
So the first round here is going to be worth 1 point each. We got 6 questions and 4 possible answers, multiple choice style. I'm closing our sheet, by the way. So I'm not having any open tabs. We're not looking at anything. We're not cheating. Hit me. What do you got?
The category are alien/space movies.
Ooh, okay.
Alien/space movies that we have watched over this last year.
There's a good chunk of those.
It was a lot.
Hit me.
Question number 1 is from our movie The Fifth Element. How often does evil come back to Earth? Is it every 2,000 years, 3,000 years, 5,000 years, or 10,000 years?
Let me just go ahead and change one of my questions on my multiple choice because the answer is 5,000 years.
Ah,
what are the chances? Because my category is not even like alien movies.
I knew this was going to happen.
I didn't think that was going to happen on the first fucking question.
Well, James, you are correct. It is every 5,000 years.
Okay, I have now in real time changed one of my questions on my multiple choice quizzes. That is hilarious that happened on the very first question.
So you get a free point.
For the road not taken for everybody. Robert Frost, I believe, is the poet. Shout out Deacon Frost and Jack Frost.
A lot of frost.
A lot of frost happening in this podcast. Frostcast. I was also trying to trick you with how often does evil return, because they do have the year, like they do have the amount of years of 300, because they say it will return in 300. So I thought it returned every 300 years, but they had 300 years left until it returns in its 5,000 year period. So moving on. Question 2.
This one is from Cruel. What animal did Ergo the Great not turn into? Was it a tiger, a dog, a goose, or a spider?
Spider.
Correct. He did not turn into a spider.
Let's
he did turn into a tiger with an indestructible paw, though.
Yeah, he got shot in the paw.
Our next question is from Pluto Nash, The Adventures of Pluto Nash. What was the name of Pluto's clone?
It was Rex Crater.
Crater? Neptune.
Rex Crater, baby.
Rex Crater. Boom. My guy. Next question from Signs. For the Hess family's last meal, which of these were not eaten? Spaghetti, French toast, ice cream, or chicken teriyaki?
Well, I know French toast was eaten. I know chicken teriyaki was eaten. And I'm pretty sure spaghetti was eaten, but no one had ice cream? I'm going to say ice cream.
It was ice cream.
Wow.
Correct.
No one had ice cream?
They're pretty boring little kids in that movie. Next one is from The Thing. Who does Matt continue to get the Norwegians confused with? The Danish,
The Swedes.
the Swedes, the Dutch, or the
Swedes.
Germans? It's the Swedes.
Swedes, baby.
It is.
Swedes. Let's go.
All right, and our last question for this round from Battlefield Earth. How long was Turl sentenced to work on Earth? 20 cycles, 50 cycles, 100 cycles, or 500 cycles?
And I'm assuming this is during renegotiations.
This is renegotiations.
The answer would be 50 cycles.
50 cycles. James, you sweep the round. I had to give you a few more layups after the AI round.
That AI gauntlet was brutal, I gotta tell you.
It was tough.
Okay, so I'm starting off very strong in the multiple choice category with 6 out of 6.
You are. That was great.
Are you ready for your round 1 of multiple choice?
Bring it on.
6 questions. The category is, when did it happen? This is the replacement question I just made up on the spot.
Okay.
In what decade is there not a Mad Max movie? Is it A, the 1970s, B, the 1980s? Well, hold on. I didn't say all the answers.
90s or 2000s. Let's go.
1990s or
90s.
2010s?
1990s.
Correct answer is the 1990s. You nailed it. 1 for 1. Moving on. Here we go. When is Jamie Foxx killed off in the movie Stealth? Is it A, in the first 10 minutes, B, 30 minutes in, C, halfway through, or D, he makes it until the end? Spoilers.
30 minutes in.
Ooh, the correct answer is halfway through. It is 1
He
hour.
made it half?
1 hour into
That's a 2-hour movie?
Stealth runtime is 2 hours and 1 minute.
Oh.
In our Stealth episodic podcast, I did say Jamie Foxx dies an hour in, halfway through.
Tough. I forgot it was that long.
I thought you were going to get that one. Okay. All right. We're 1 for 2.
Too.
Let's keep the train rolling here. When did it happen? What year did the movie Cruel come out? Was it A, 1981, B, 1982, C, 1983, or D, 1984?
Cruel came out in 1982.
Yes.
I'm going to say 2.
Is that your final answer?
That's my final answer.
I'm sorry, but the answer is 1983. That's when Cruel came out.
I just looked it up today.
I know. I'm sure we were all up and down the sheet. We were all up and down the sheet, my friend.
We were.
And I'm assuming you have the sheet closed.
I do.
Question number 4. At the end of every movie review, we give our own log line to sum up the movie. What used to be known simply as an honest log line, at what episode did we brand this as our laughable log line?
Oh, I don't fucking know.
A, Stealth. B, Minority Report. C, Hulk. Or D, The Adventures of Pluto Nash.
I feel like the Hulk would have been a great time to do it. I'm going to go with the Hulk.
Is that your final answer?
That's my final answer.
I'm so sorry, but it actually came pretty late in the game. The first time we coined the phrase laughable logline was The Adventures of Pluto Nash.
Tough.
Yeah, that's that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The 10th episode, that's when we coined the phrase laughable logline. Can you believe it?
I cannot.
Oh, okay. Let's nail these last two, Nick. Now, when did our podcast premiere? Was it A, February 1st, 2023?
A.
Was
A.
it was
I
it
need
B?
to change the question.
Is it A 2123, B 2223, C 22223, or D 22323?
There goes my questions about the podcast.
The correct answer is February 1st, 2023.
Hey!
This man knows the Just Play It pod. Let's go. 2 out of 6. Can you salvage? Can you make this a .500 record with this last question? When did it happen? What year does Escape from New York take place? Is it A, 1989, B, 1997, C, 1999, or D, 2000?
And we're talking about the year of, like, in the movie.
In the movie Escape from New York, when does the plot take place?
Give me my answers again.
Is it A, 1989, B, 1997, C, 1999, or D, 2000?
I remember the title cards of, like, a near future world. It wasn't 2000. 99 was a year that we loved back then to, like, say, like, oh, this was the stuff. But that's too obvious. I'm going to go with 1997.
Is that your final answer?
That's my final answer.
It's 1997. You nailed it, buddy.
Hey!
3 out of 6. Way to salvage that. I thought you had a fair chance. I didn't think it was like super hard, but I guess, it can kind of trick you.
The cruel years being like, here's 3 consecutive years was like, and I thought we watched a lot of movies from 2003 or 1983, sorry, from 83. So I was like, that was like in my mind as like a trap.
Yeah.
All right. Hey. So you are sitting at 16 total points right now.
A clean 16.
Clean 16, my friend.
And you are sitting at a sexy 14.8.
Which is close. We're close.
Yeah.
All right. So our round 2, these questions are worth either 2 points for a correct answer, right?
Yep.
And -1 for a wrong answer.
Yeah.
All right, James. So this round is going to get a little harder.
Oh, no.
That first round was like the layup.
Why'd you save the harder round for the higher stakes?
You know why. So this category is called, I think you're going to get this. I think you're going to be good at this.
Okay.
This category is called Rotten Reviews. So I went on Rotten Tomatoes for these 6 movies here, and I found a rotten review that doesn't give too much of the plot away. And you're going to have to guess which movie this reviewer is reviewing.
Okay.
You ready?
I'm ready. Are we doing lifelines?
Tell the lifeline rules.
For one question, we can get the 50-50. So we can eliminate 2 wrong answers. Let's hit it.
All right, for your first movie review, this is from Joe Morgenstern at the Wall Street Journal. He says, though this movie wraps challenging ideas and ingenious visual concepts in a futuristic film noir style, it's pretentious, didactic, and intentionally but mercilessly bleak. Is he describing The Fifth Element, Minority Report, War Games, or Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome?
I feel like this is a Minority Report rotten review.
It is, in fact, a Minority Report rotten review. John Powers at LA Weekly says, enthralled by his own genius and desire to make a blockbuster, this director has taken a terrific B-movie idea and inflated it into what he wants us to believe is a serious commentary. Is this critic reviewing Signs, Volcano, Scream, or Stealth?
Can you repeat the rotten review?
Enthralled by his own genius and desire to make a blockbuster, this director has taken a terrific B-movie idea and inflated it into what he wants us to believe is a serious commentary. Signs, Volcano, Scream, or Stealth?
Okay, so based on how he called out the director, I feel like this is a guy who is very critical of M. Night Shyamalan. I'm going to say this is a rotten review for Signs.
You are correct, my friend.
Yes.
This is a rotten review for science. I knew you'd be good at this round. This critic is John Puccio at Movie Metropolis. He says, many adults will find it too blatantly manipulative, but all the same, it is decent, lightweight, and just juvenile entertainment. Is this Big Fat Liar, Horse Sense, Free Willy, or Star Wars Clone Wars?
See, okay, so the review, I thought it was going to be The Adventures of Pluto Nash, but that didn't end up being any of the options. So the review was the adults will find this juvenile?
No, many adults will find it too blatantly manipulative, but all the same, it is decent, lightweight, and juvenile entertainment. Big Fat Liar, Horse Sense, Free Willy, or Star Wars Clone Wars?
I feel like I'm just going to go with my gut and say Big Fat Liar.
That is your first miss, my friend. This is Free Willy.
No!
This is Free Willy.
Oh, stinks.
John Puccio, you son of a bitch.
You.
For our next movie, Chris Peachman at the Daily Telegraph UK said, had this film come out 14 years ago, it would probably still be a late night video treat, rather than looking a mite tired. Is this Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, Blade, Escape from LA, or The Fifth Element?
I think I'm going to exercise my lifeline here. Can you eliminate 2 wrong answers?
Had this film come out 14 years ago, it would probably still be a late night video treat, rather than looking a mite tired. Is this Escape from LA or The Fifth Element?
Escape from LA.
You are correct, my friend. This is Escape from LA. Boom.
I was like, this could be Blade. This could be like that. Those were some good,
Yeah.
good, nice pool of selections there.
All right, for our next movie, Marshall Fine at the Journal News says, feels flabby and long, an intimate story trapped in a big budget body. Is this Wind Talkers, Volcano, The Adventures of Pluto Nash, or Cutthroat Island?
Oh, this would have been another one to exercise 50-50. Okay, flabby and long, basically too big for its budget britches. I have 2 answers in my head. Oh man, this is so hard. I'm gonna go with Cutthroat Island.
Sorry, my friend. This is Wind Talkers.
Fuck it. That was the other one I had in my head.
There was one negative review I was going to put in that was just, I wasn't expecting a comedy for Wind Talkers. I thought was funny.
Those are my 2 options.
Last movie for this round, Dennis King at Tulsa World says there are a few genuine laughs along the way, but the story eventually falls apart at the seams, and the movie's ending is patently ridiculous. Is this The Fifth Element, The Burbs, War Games, or Big Fat Liar?
Again, I'm hitting that 2 movie, like I have 2 top answers, but is this, oh my god, it could be either one of these. I'm thinking it's either The Fifth Element or The Burbs. You know what? I went with the like quote unquote obvious answer last time. I'm gonna go with the unassuming answer this time. I'm gonna say, is this for The Burbs?
You are just a smart man, James. This is The Burbs.
Okay, you are playing 3D chess because The Fifth Element I was going to say, is this The Fifth Element? But I was like, you know what? I'm going to go with the unassuming option of The Burbs.
I was very proud of that round. I thought that was a fun round.
That was good.
You got 6 points in that round. You got 4, missed 2. So you are sitting at a total of 22 points, my friend.
Nick, are you ready for your high stakes second round of multiple choice?
I think so.
The category is friendly fun facts. So these are fun facts that our friends brought up. Question 1. You brought up the fun fact that a young James Cameron served as a special visual effects director of photography of what 80s movie? Is it A, Escape from New York, B, The Thing, C, War Games, or D, The Wraith?
What was the first answer again?
Is it A, Escape from New York, B, The Thing, C, War Games, or D, The Wraith? I got Nick thinking, ladies and gentlemen. He's taking a long time to think about this one.
I want to say... God, I have no idea, dude. I want to say The Wraith.
Was that your final answer?
It's all my final answer. It's always my final answer.
Oh, man, this is
I don't
a fun
remember
fact
things
that
that
you.
I say.
This is a fun fact that you brought up, and you are starting off this round in the hole because the correct answer was Escape from New York.
I thought so. That's why I asked you to repeat the first answer again, and I went away from my gut.
I thought you were going to get it, so we're starting out in the hole.
I didn't think I put that fun fact out that early in the podcast. I remember it being later.
I dug deep for fun facts. That's how we're starting out this round.
All right.
The next 5 questions, I feel like you can get.
Okay.
Question two. What famous sitcom house had a cameo in the movie The Burbs? Was it A, The Munsters, B, The Addams Family, C, Alf, or D, Give Me a Break?
I want to say The Addams Family. That was the creepy house. Give me the answers one more time.
Was it A, The Munsters, B, The Addams Family, C, Alf, or D, Give Me a Break? Exclamation point. I'm reveling in how much Nick is thinking about this right now. Nick's a smart guy, but I got him up on the ropes.
So I remember... I'm really confused because I remember it being the house from Leave It to Beaver.
Well, that's super wrong.
But no, there must have been something else then.
I feel like that lifeline you wanna kind of holster until the back
Yeah, I'm
half,
holstering it.
just in case there's like some difficult ones coming up.
I'm gonna say the Addams Family.
Is
what
that your
the creepy
final
house was?
answer?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. The correct answer is The Munsters.
I thought it was.
Ricky Butler's house was the same house as the Munsters.
I was gonna just yell out "Leave It to Beaver" because I remember that being a fun fact. But...
Maybe a different movie, but unfortunately, you're starting out this round of multiple choice at -2.
It appears so.
Let's dig out of the hole here. Are you ready for question 3?
I am.
Okay, so I hope you were paying attention because I brought up the fun fact that Nick Cassavetes, aka the antagonist Packard from The Wraith, went on to direct what movie later on in his career? Is it A, 50 First Dates, B, The Proposal, C, A Walk to Remember, or D, The Notebook?
Oh shit! I remember this.
Dig deep, my guy. I'm kind of pulling for you now. I want you to come back.
It was The Notebook. I remember this one. I remember this one pretty well. This
Boom,
is The
baby.
Notebook.
Let's go. The Notebook. Okay, Nick has broken even.
There you go.
Nick Cassavetes directed The Notebook. Way to go, Nick. Nice job.
There it is.
Didn't even need the 50-50. I feel like you can get this next one because this is a fun fact that you brought up.
Okay.
So you brought up the fun fact that director Rennie Harlin and Gina Davis wanted which specific beverage shipped out to Malta during the filming of Cutthroat Island? Is it A, Blue Gatorade, B, Tang, C, Sobe green tea, or D, V8 vegetable juice?
Let me think, because I'm almost positive this is V8. I mean, the Sobe answer, that was great. Well, way to throw it in. Nobody asked for Sobe to be shipped.
Wow, okay.
And Blue Gatorade, it's between the V8, but I'm pretty sure it was V8, because you made a joke about using the V8 juice, so I'm going V8. That's where my heart's at.
Is that your final answer?
That's my final answer.
Ding, 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 ding. It was V8 vegetable juice.
That other factors contributing to the production costs running out of control was Rennie Harlin, had several cases of V8 vegetable juice shipped out to the set in Malta for themselves. At the end of the shooting, an entire room was found to be full of unopened juice.
So that's where all the money went.
Nice.
Didn't help the budget. So we're at 2. We're at 2 points.
After going in the hole, yeah.
Yeah, we're at 2 points. Okay, so you can technically tie with me right now if you
I can, yeah.
If you win out.
I can.
Let's do it. Are you ready for question 5? You still have your lifeline in the chamber. You still have your lifeline in the chamber.
I do.
Question number 5. Friendly fun facts. Danny Elfman did not compose the music for which movie? Is it A, Batman, B, Flubber, C, Big Fat Liar, or D, Hulk?
He did Hulk and he did Big Fat Liar. I shouldn't say that out loud because you're not going to take those off if I 50-50 this. So he did Hulk. I'm almost positive. That was like the one thing that we brought away from that. I'm almost positive we did Danny Elfman on the track for Big Fat Liar. What are my other options?
Is it A, Batman, B, Flubber, C, Big Fat Liar, or D, Hulk, that he did not compose?
So he was the main composer on these.
Correct.
He did the soundtrack. Oh, I hate this. I can't get this wrong. I can't get this wrong. So he did... What did he do? He did Batman. He did Hulk. Hulk was a for sure. So that's good there. He did Flubber because he's all in. He's with Disney. He did not do Big Fat Liar.
Is that your final answer?
That's my final answer.
Nick, are you cheating? Are you looking at different tabs?
I'm not.
Because you were 100% confident that he did Big Fat Liar.
I was thinking about it after I said I'm confident he did Big Fat Liar, and I think it's a different movie that I was talking about. I think I was thinking Flubber as far as the kids' movie.
Nick, you are correct. He did not do Big Fat Liar.
Good.
He did Batman, Hulk, and Flubber. I am happy you got that right. You were at 4 points, my friend.
You would have given Big Fat Liar a better score, I think, had Danny Elfman been on the track.
Nicely done. Okay, are you ready for question number 6 with your lifeline still in the chamber?
I am.
Question number 6, friendly fun facts. We've seen a lot of dog actors in movies. Which of the following is not the real life name of the dog actor featured from this past year's reviewed movies? Is it A, Darla, B, Queenie, C,
Queenie's correct,
Jed, or D, Mr. Chips?
I need the 50-50 here. It's not Queenie. Or it is. Oh, it could be Queenie. I can't remember if Queenie was one. I can't. 50-50 me.
Which of the following is not the real life name of the dog actor featured from this past year's reviewed movies? Is it A, Darla, or B, Queenie?
It's Darla.
Is that your final answer?
It's my final answer.
I am so sorry. The correct answer was Queenie.
What?
So Darla was the name of the dog that played Queenie in The Burbs. Darla is the dog from Silence of the Lambs and The Burbs. Jed, as we know, is the wolf husky hybrid dog from The Thing. And Mr. Chips, we recently saw in Jack Frost as Chester. So Queenie is actually the character name, and Darla is the real life actor name.
I don't know these damn dog names. Oh, that sucks.
That means I won the multiple choice round. I got 6 and 6. You got 3 and 3. So clearing away the winner, you owe me 6 back of microwavable popcorn.
You go eat it with Darla. Bullshit.
Lightning round, Nick, you're going to go first. You're just going to rattle off questions. I'm going to have 60 seconds on the clock. We have a timer here. We can do a time marker, and every correct answer I get will be 1 point. First round is about the podcast.
Yes.
I believe I'm ready.
Which episode were our scores the farthest apart?
The Wraith.
Correct. What year did we watch the most movies from?
1985.
Incorrect. 2002. True or false? We watched more than 6 movies which involved a spaceship.
True.
True. What is our highest rated PG film?
Free Willy.
Incorrect. War Games. What product did the Chinese doctor drink in the deleted Iron Man scene from China?
Milk.
Chocolate milk, but I'm going to give you milk. Which actor that we watched this year made the highest income from their role in the movie?
Eddie Murphy.
Jack Nicholson in Batman. What did we refer to the Hut Baby as in the Clone Wars?
Stinky. Booger Baby.
I'm going to give you that. What movie came the closest to breaking even with the budget?
The Wraith.
That was The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. That was a $30 million budget and like a $29.5 million return. That's it. That was 60 seconds.
So I got 4.
You got 4.
Okay. All right, Nick. About the podcast. Are you ready?
Yes.
What was our lowest rated Mad Max film?
Thunderdome.
Correct. Which movie was directed by Joe Dante?
Pass.
The Burbs. Name an actor who had appeared in at least 3 of the movies we reviewed.
Holy shit.
Killing time.
Mel Gibson.
Correct. Between the two of us, who gave a lower score to the movie Scream?
Me.
Correct. What number score represents pre-pop store-bought corn?
6.
Incorrect. 5. How many movies did we watch that included extraterrestrial aliens and or UFOs from outer space as a part of the plot?
8.
Wow, correct. What movie had the worst box office return compared to its budget?
Battlefield Earth.
Incorrect. Pluto Nash. Director of Spawn, Mark A.Z. Dippy, had a production company named what?
I got 4.
It was Pull Down Your Pants Productions. Okay, so let's go back. So you got Beyond
I knew 8 from the UFO because I gave you the we watched more or less movies with spaceships, and I said more than 6. It was 8.
You nailed it. Okay, so you got 4 points. So just like me.
Yep.
Wow. Okay, so we can really get off like 8 questions. I had like a bunch of others prepared.
I have
for
a
no
ton,
reason.
dude.
I had a bunch of others
Might have
prepared for no reason.
Yeah, that's why I was like, "How many you prepared?" She's like, "Might better have more."
We can go 69 for the last round. Let's go 69 for this next category, and then let's go back to 60.
Okay.
This next round, lightning round, is about the movies we watched. Nick, you are about to ask me questions. I am ready.
What did the devil like to eat in Angel Heart?
Eggs.
Correct. What does flubber stand for?
Flying rubber.
Correct. What is the full name of the AI jet in Stealth, not the acronym?
Extreme Deep Invader.
Correct. What is one of the 3 movies that Ghostface referenced in the opening scene of Scream?
Friday the 13th.
Correct. The 4 elements in the 5th element are air, fire, earth, and what else?
Water.
Correct. What song plays in Big Fat Liar while Marty does his morning routine?
Hungry Like the Wolf.
Correct. What was the name of the main deity in Blade?
Lamagra.
Correct. Give me one of the names of the precogs in Minority Report.
Agatha.
Correct. What movie did Bishop love watching in Juice?
White Heat.
Correct. What movie had the tagline, "It's hotter than hell"?
Pass.
Incorrect. What movie had the tagline, "Man is the warmest place to hide"?
This is a movie we watched? The Thing?
That was The Thing, but you ran out of time. I'm sorry.
Wow. Okay.
It's hotter than hell is Volcano.
Oh my God. Yeah, I blanked out on that one.
So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
All right. Questions about the movie. Here we go. What state does the movie The Wraith take place?
Arizona.
Correct. The clone of Pluto Nash goes by what name?
Rex Crater.
A little bit of a gimme there. What is the model of Max's V8 muscle car he drives in the Mad Max series?
Pass.
V8 Interceptor. What was the fictional drug in Minority Report?
Pass.
Narrowin. Who played Harvey Dent in 1989's Batman?
Shit. Pass.
Billy D. Williams. Flubber enters Christopher McDonald's character Wilson Croft's mouth and exits through his what?
But
Correct. What Nicolas Cage movie is very meaningful to Pedro Pascal's character in the movie Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent?
The Pig. No. Fuck. Pass.
Guarding Tess. What is the mythical weapon in the movie Kroll?
The Glaive.
Correct. What ancient vampire god is Deacon Frost trying to resurrect?
Lamagra.
Correct. What game do they make the Whopper play itself in War Games?
Tic-tac-toe.
Correct. And your 69 seconds are up. Sexy 69. Okay. So go tallying up your score of the round 2. So you got Arizona, you got Rex Crater. See, that was one you asked me, and I also had La Magra.
Yeah.
I just forgot to take it out of the quit. I was like, whatever, it's a gimme. So you got Arizona, Rex Crater, Asshole, Butt, the Glaive, La Magra, and Tic Tac Toe. So you got 6 on that one.
All right. I'm gonna lose here unless you zero out.
I mean, this is a wild card. This is pick your own category. So are we back to 60 seconds or you want to do 69?
Because it's an unknown category, I think we can go with a little more time. I think 69 is okay.
Let's do 75. 75 seconds on the clock. Last round of lightning round.
Your category is animals in the movies we watched. What was the first movie we watched that involved a dog?
Mad Max?
Mad Max was correct. Harry Angel had an irrational fear of what animal?
Chickens.
Correct. What was the name of the water park in Free Willy?
Pass.
Northwest Adventure Park. In The Burbs, the family dog Vince digs up what kind of bone?
A femur bone.
Correct. What breed of dogs belong to the Hess family in Signs?
German Shepherds.
Correct. What does Morgan say before shooting a cannon at Dog?
Bad dog.
Correct. What type of dog did Pluto Nash have cryogenically frozen and brought
Chihuahua.
to the moon? Correct. What causes Clown to want to kill Spawn's dog?
It's biting him.
Incorrect. Pisses on his leg. What is the name of the mountain they go to fix Pig George?
Oh, Coyote Mountain.
Correct. What did the Cyclos try to force feed to the man animals?
Rats.
Correct. What is the name of the horse species on the planet Cruel?
Poop horses.
Fire mares. What was Marty's stuffed animal's name in Big Fat Liar?
Oh, Mr. Hanky.
Incorrect. Mr. Funny Bones. All right, time is up. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Pretty strong there. Okay, Nick, are you ready for your 75-second round?
I am ready.
The category is information provided in our very own promos. What was the name of the city the Talon 3 get redirected to in the movie Stealth?
Rangoon.
Correct. What movie of Nick Cage did you say was the moment we considered him a joke or meme?
Next.
Correct. I said the thing's tentacles look like what candy?
Red Vines.
Correct. How fast did you say the soda cans were ripping out of the vending machine in Maximum Overdrive?
Pass.
150 miles an hour. Flubber multiplies during what musical number in Flubber?
The Flubber Mambo.
Technically, it's Mambo del Flubber, but I'll give you Flubber Mambo. What was my rating of The Last of Us TV show in our video game special?
9.
9.5, incorrect. Spawn's horrible CGI inspired me to describe Malbolgia as what sandwich chain's mascot?
Quiznos.
Correct. Our Cutthroat Island promo features what movie trope?
Quicksand.
Correct. In the Road Warrior episode, what 8 Mile nickname did we give Papagayo?
Pass.
Papa Doc. Angel Heart promo is all about Harry Angel's fear phobia of what?
Chickens.
Correct. In Adventures of Pluto Nash, what mode gives the character a bodybuilder's physique?
Beach body mode.
The correct answer is Venice Beach. I feel like
You don't have to give it to me.
I'm not going to give it
That's
to you because I kind of gave you another regurgitated answer or question of the chickens because I forgot to take that out because you asked me that. I feel like I can give you Venice Beach. I'll give you Venice Beach.
I gave you milk over chocolate milk, so I mean,
no. I'll give you Beach Bodybuilder for Venice Beach. You got a point there. Okay, so you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on that round.
Very nice.
So we were actually tied up on that last round. So okay, so I won the poppin round. So you do need to take me to the movies. For the overall, where'd we land?
You got a 43.
So you got 35.8. Okay, so it seems like I've won the overall quiz round, which means I get the grand prize of picking a movie that we get to watch next year.
Looking forward to it.
Okay, Nick, would you like to move on to our next section here?
Let's do it.
Okay, we're going to get into our re-rankings. After a year of movie watching, we've grown our critic skills. We're constantly discovering what we need to be looking for when reviewing films. So with that said, we're going to give ourselves an opportunity to correct some scores. And as we look back on our scores, we find ourselves struggling to rank movies as we progress because we've pigeonholed ourselves from past decisions. Now, with a new perspective, we're going to give ourselves a total of 3 movie re-rankings each. But before we get to re-rankings, we got some kernels to pick. We got a bone to pick. We got to hash out some beef. We got to literally settle the score. Nick, I'm putting you in the hot corn seat, dog.
I'm ready.
I feel bad presenting my case about how wrong you are on some of these, but this is the point of the year wrap up where we need to keep ourselves accountable. And let me start out by saying this. Whatever predetermined re-rankings you had, the 3 that you want to decide on, the movie or movies I propose to you that you should reconsider will be freebies. You don't have to count this towards your re-rankings.
Okay.
My mission statement. Nick, your rating of Batman 1989 is too high, and your rating of Signs is too low. Now let's start things off with Signs. I'll admit, it's one of those movies when you watch it for the first time, it may not land correctly, but I feel like you fell into your classic, I don't quite get it, therefore I hate it, attack tactic. Now that's a signature trait for you, and in my opinion, it's a valued piece of the puzzle for this podcast. But since this movie resonated with me very well, I felt like this hate was very invalid, and dare I say, unnecessary. This is different from My Brother the Pig, Free Willy, Jack Frost, The Wraith. In the back of my mind, I knew those weren't great movies, and I knew they deserved some hate, the critical points you brought up, and I feel like your passionate, snarky take on those movies was very valid, but I feel like Signs didn't deserve the hate. Now let's get to the meat and potatoes here. 1989's Batman. It's no secret that you are a homer for Batman. So already, you're coming into this movie review with a biased opinion. Granted, as we discussed, it trailblazed a blueprint for future superhero and comic book movies, but still, I do not think this movie is anything special. Facts. First off, you really did not like how Tim Burton took the story into his own hands when he made the creative choice of Jack Napier, as he'll later be known as the Joker, kill off Bruce Wayne's parents. The writers disputed with Tim Burton on this. In fact, you call this creative choice a, quote, cardinal sin, which goes against the source material, a sin we have brought up on this podcast previously. Which brings me to the hypocrisy. Time to get Bruce with it. From Bruce Wayne to Bruce Banner, we crucified On Lee's Hulk for going against source material and core lore, #core lore, of the Hulk Bruce Banner character. Your bottom line, biggest gripe with the Hulk was that they had source material and didn't even utilize it. We agreed they fumbled the job of that movie due to the awful editing, the not ready CGI, and taking creative license with the Hulk storyline. What's worse is that you even admitted you gave Hulk a bunch of crap for committing the very same crime on our Batman podcast. You openly admitted that essentially you were giving special treatment to Tim Burton's Batman for committing the same crimes as Hulk. And you know what we call that? Bat privilege. The other big thing, Burton said the movie wasn't even that great. Tim Burton, talking to Empire magazine in 1992, Burton stated that he was not quite happy about how Batman turned out. You actually brought this quote up on the Batman episode when we reviewed it. Quote, I like parts of it, but the whole movie is mainly boring to me. It's okay, but it was more of a cultural phenomenon than a great movie. Tim Burton, the director of this film, his own film, called it boring. Not a good look if the director doesn't like his own movie, so how could anyone like his movie? If you remove the shiny Batman exterior from this film, you're left with a pretty subpar story underneath. This goes to your gripe with Signs. When you asked, what did the aliens add? I'll ask the same question. What did the Batman characters add to this lackluster story? Plot is what unfolds on screen, but story will always be king. To wrap up my case, I believe you're being blinded by the Batman light. And no, I'm not talking about his dome light gadget that specifically blinds his Batmobile passengers. I believe your Batman score is too inflated. How do you plead, corny or not corny?
Yeah, I admitted it. I admitted it in the podcast episode.
So you plead corny.
Yeah.
Gotcha, bitch.
I'd like to address the Signs accusation, though. No, No, I will not be re-ranking Signs. I have no intention on revisiting Signs. I do not appreciate being dragged through every single scene as a form of suspense. I do not like long, drawn-out staring contests between Mel Gibson and Joaquin Phoenix. I don't think it's that great of a movie. I don't think the alien... I mean, if you want to tell a story of a broken man and his kids trying to overcome the death of their mother, tell that story. Don't wrap it in like an overly suspenseful alien movie that doesn't make sense, where his son knows everything about aliens and there's a guy who killed his wife who knows they don't like water and they board up the house and the aliens leave in the morning. No. It wasn't a don't understand it. I completely understand what he was doing. I don't appreciate it. As far as Batman's concerned, agreed on your counts. There was bias there. Admitted it. Love Batman. I do find your criticism funny of... we can't take into account, what the movie did for the genre. When you use the same argument for Blade, use the same argument for Blade. So,
but I did call myself out. I did echo that.
I called myself out too.
No.
We've used
Don't
that argument in JPI history before.
Don't deflect this on me.
Your Honor, do I have a chance to respond? Do I have a chance to respond to the criticism?
Temporarily overruled. I was saying kudos to them, but it shouldn't factor into the rating.
We've factored it into multiple movies. No. You did factor it in the movie because otherwise Blade does not deserve a 7.4.
No.
We all know that.
No. I did not factor into Blade. I said kudos to Blade, but I'm not factoring it into the rating. Just to kind of echo the sentiments, I really did enjoy watching this movie. Like you touched upon with Batman, its influence on future superhero movies. I don't want to do that here because if I did that, it would probably be similar to your Batman score, kind of up in the 8s. But I think I got to give it some kudos because it was the first successful superhero movie for Marvel that kind of paved the way. I'm saying this is a very significant stepping stone for Marvel feature films. Because like I said, before that, it was Howard the Duck. You may proceed.
I think that, when you're trying something for the first time, when you're the first guy putting a superhero onto the big screen, you're going to try some things. It's going to fail. You get a lot more forgiveness when you're the first guy to do it than when you're the fifth guy to fuck up. Hulk knew better because that's 14 years later. You're the first guy to try something, you might fail, and you get a little more forgiveness. Batman will be as part of my re-rankings, so obviously I know it was biased, and I'm going to change that opinion. However, I don't agree with all the criticism. I agree with a good chunk of it. But Signs, no. Signs, I will stand very firm. I will stand on my word on Signs.
But for Batman, you do plead corny because you are going to re-rank it.
Yes, but not for every reason you stated, but for about 60% of the reasons.
Okay, you plead corny on Batman. You could pick another movie to re-rank.
Sounds good. James, you are now on the hot corn seat. Your hot corn seat involves Hulk from 2003. You gave this a 4.9. You've given some movies some terrible, terrible scores for bad CGI. CGI that wasn't ready to be premiered. CGI that was rushed. I'm going to remind you, this is what gave Spawn a 0.6 rating. I think this probably knocked down 2 to 3 points off of Spawn. And your same deal, not sticking to canon, not sticking to any source material for Batman. I'm going to shoot it right back at you. They took creative license and created a movie that was not Hulk. It just had the Hulk character and was wrapped up in terrible, terrible storytelling. Cinematography, awful. The comic book panels, we've discussed at length in that episode. Go back and listen to it. Terrible piece of the puzzle. The greenness, the directing, the acting. I want to know where this 4.9 even comes from. Because when I look at other movies that we've ranked since then, I can understand where your points come from and where things lose points. But I don't know where 4.9 points come from for this movie Hulk. How do you plead?
For the movie Hulk, which is not the movie I thought I was going to be on the hot corn seat for, I do plead corny.
Gotcha, bitch.
Hulk was going to be part of my re-rankings.
Fantastic.
Thank you for the freebie. Let me just say, for Hulk, I had a gripe with it as far as going against the lore for, David Banner is the one creating the super soldier serum versus Bruce. It's just like, it's not comically accurate. My main gripe with Hulk was just the god awful editing.
It was awful.
And the CGI just wasn't ready. Now let me say this. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is our 7th episode. This is our 7th movie we reviewed. We're a little lost in the sauce as far as reference points for movies. I felt the same way with
Not we, me, you. I had it at 1.2.
No, I'm saying we because let's just look at I'm gonna deflect. Let's look at episode 5 of Minority Report.
No. Overruled. That's what you did to me. Overruled on the deflect. Overruled.
So I won't name any names, but some of us rated
That's
Minority
a deflection.
Report
Overruled.
and
overruled.
War Games
Overruled.
pretty damn high.
Keep it.
Because we were only episodes.
Keep it to the
We
topic.
were only 3 to 5 episodes.
Keep it to the
in.
topic of Hulk. Keep it to the topic of Hulk, please.
So for Hulk,
Thank you.
we're 7 episodes in. I don't really have a strong reference point, and I do have something that I want to take back, and that is that I was under the impression that Ong Lee was trying to make a meaningful story, but after we reviewed our movie of Juice, where we talked about studio involvement and the creative visionaries' intentions versus the studio's intentions, just because you're trying to make something but you don't execute, you don't get points for. So I was giving Hulk benefit of the doubt. So that is where that 4.9 comes in, because 4.9, Nick, I'm not saying this is a great movie. This is an awful movie. This is not even halfway good. So I'm right in line with you. I plead corny on Hulk. Honestly, I thought you were going to come after my head for the Wraith. So,
I've accepted how you stand on the Wraith.
Well, that's the importance of the JPI score. We really are the yin and the yang of this podcast. We are perfectly balanced, as all things should be. My rating of Hulk, your rating of Hulk, is not where we stand. It's our combined score of Hulk. With that, let's get into our re-rankings.
Let's do it.
So, Nick, you want to go first? What you said Batman was part of your re-rankings. I'm giving you a freebie of a re-ranking. What are you gonna score that down to?
Batman changes a full point for me from 8.3 to 7.3. Bias still comes in. I still do like Batman, but it does not deserve its ranking in the 8s. Batman loses its spot in the 8s. It goes down into the 7s. 7.3. For reference, that is 1 spot below Scream. A popcorn decimal.
I think that's accurate.
I do too. My next re-ranking has been an elephant in the room pretty much since the beginning of this podcast, and that is War Games.
Yep.
War Games made itself into an early 8.5.
Yeah. Okay. So this was the misconstrued perception at the beginning, the early inception days of our podcast, where you were just riding high on if a movie you thought a movie was good, it was just like an 8 or a 9.
Now, don't get me wrong. This is a good movie. Nothing against War Games. The more movies I watch, the less special I think it is. For me, this goes from an 8.5 to a 7.4.
2 re-rankings to go.
My next re-ranking is Cruel. Cruel is being re-ranked.
I feel like this is going to be a positive game.
In this, it is a positive game.
All right, let's go Cruel.
I've really come around on Cruel, and I don't know why. I don't know. Maybe it's the epic sets. It's the whole go around. It's the glitch. Maybe I like it. Maybe it's so bad that it's become fun to me. Maybe it's so bad it's become fun to me, and I wanted to hate it because of how bad it was. But the more I go around, and if I watched it again, I'd sink it back down. But time heals all wounds, James. It goes from a 2.7 to a 4.2.
Let's go.
For me.
Okay.
For Cruel. So
Cruel. 4.2.
This old soul has softened his heart.
I like the
Cruel
positive
into the
game.
4.2.
Okay, from a cranky Nick.
The last one here is gonna get controversial.
Oh God,
maybe a little bit.
Please don't tell me you're lowering the rating of Signs just because it's late and you're cranky.
It is not the ratings of Signs. Signs I'm very comfortable with. I'm very comfortable with Signs. This is a little more controversial.
Don't go off the rails.
At the time, I felt a sense of needing to rank this movie at a certain point.
Oh, God.
And that movie is Schindler's List.
Oh.
Schindler's List, at the time, I gave a 9.
Yeah.
And I felt compelled to give that score because of the subject matter.
I did not give into that peer pressure. I let you go first, and you gave it its pandering score of a 9. So I feel like this is going below that.
I did. I pandered a bit.
Oh, this is very
I pandered a
controversial.
bit. And it's a controversial movie, and I wanted to give the movie the respect it deserved. But the more movies we watch, I realize the popcorn points does not mean respect. It means how I think the movie is. I could rate The Wraith low and still say that's rewatchable and it was fun. And I could give Signs a 5.2 and still say that was an important movie for M. Night Shyamalan at that time. I just didn't enjoy it. And so I'm going back to Schindler's List. I'm saying it doesn't deserve to be in my nines. And it's a small correction, but it's a 9 to an 8.7 as far as the movie goes. But I think for me, it is important for the sanctity of the nines. And I came to this conclusion after Fury Road broke into the nines. And I said, I have Fury Road, Minority Report, and Schindler's List. And one of those things just didn't belong. And so it's a very, very minor correction, but I think it's important for me to stand on principle and say I will not feel obligated to give a score, and I will give an honest score of an 8.7.
Wow. Okay. I was not expecting that.
I'm a man who stands on principle, and that was a principled one for me. I've regretted that one for a long time. A long, long time. It keeps me up at night.
I was going to say, our early days of the podcast, we knew War Games was coming. I didn't think you were going to re-rank Minority Report because you were really plugged into that movie and you loved it.
Yeah, zero issues with the 9 that it has from me.
The way we rank movies, I feel like is a lot like our personality. I feel like you are just love or hate. So if you are really digging a movie, it's oh, this is high 8s, this is 9, let's go. Or if you,
I don't have a ton of 5s or 6s. There's a lot of 3s and a lot of 7s.
Yeah, if you just minorly disagree with something, you're 2, 3. It's it gets buried.
To be fair, not if I minorly disagree with something in the movie. It's that if I find a hole in your message, it's hard for me to engage the rest of the way. If I'm the premise is, if the premise I disagree with, then the rest of the you can never build on the premise the rest of the way like you want to do because I've already rejected it. And I think that kills it for me. All right, James, I've done my re-rankings. I've come to terms. I've buried my bodies. Talk to me. You got a free one.
Yeah, my freebie of Hulk, which was actually on my list of re-rankings. And like we discussed after other movies that we have reviewed, where we feel like the creative vision of the director got shafted by the studio, this is the opposite effect. And then the more we review movies, that's not an excuse.
Not to cut you off, but we've seen quite a few movies that have meh premises that are executed well.
So for my freebie re-ranking, thank you very much. Hulk 2003 is getting bumped down an entire 1.9 points. It's going all the way down to a 3.
I can live with that.
Yeah, no, it's just it's a boring, drawn out, disjointed, awfully edited, not ready CGI, not comic book accurate iteration of Bruce Banner and the Hulk. Now, for my potentially biggest re-ranking. Nick, I have a question for you. If we know in our brains that a movie is not good, but in our hearts, we feel like it's so bad it's good.
I know where you're going.
During the Wraith, I said, this movie is a sexy 6.9 because I feel like it's just a funny number. And it represents it's so bad, but it's good. But I feel like numbers wise, it's not accurate. So basically what I have is, should we call it a 3.69 or 4.69 or 5.69? No matter what you say, it has to end in 0.69.
There's certain movies that just push all your buttons. Every button you want pushed, it hits them. And that's the Wraith for James. And I knew it. That's why I didn't put you on the hot corn seat for it, because I knew this movie. I know you, buddy. And I know that this movie tickled your fancy. It had the cars. It had the cheese. It had the camp. It had the over-the-top acting.
The soundtrack?
It was just the sound. Oh, the soundtrack was... just the opening scene soundtrack. I knew this was all up into your alley, so I would never attack you for it. But I think giving it its ranking,
we need a universal so bad it's good score, and I feel like I'm comfortable with a very in order, mathematically rhythmic 3.69. Damn, she fine 3.69.
Yeah,
going forward, the score for the so bad it's good, it hits that tickle funny bone fun zone 3.69.
I like it.
My biggest point deduction comes with the Wraith. I was way out of pocket. I admit 6.9 was not accurate for the Wraith.
I've been there, dude. Yeah.
It was those early days of the podcast. It was wild times, you know. Our universal score for a movie that we just know is horrible on paper, but for some reason we love and find entertaining. I think we can find comfort in a score of 3.69.
The 3 is for your head. The 69 is for your heart. And I think that's a good place to live.
And I couldn't say it any better. I need to get this out of the way. The Fifth Element, I'm dinking down. This is going from a 6.6 to a 5.9. The plot doesn't make sense. I don't care that it's a cult classic. I don't care that people love it. It's 5.9.
I was sitting at a 5.8 for that one, so I'm with you.
I'm going to pick Cutthroat Island. It's going down a whole point.
No!
It's going from a 5.5 to a 4.5. It's just like, or I can raise the thing by 0.4 points, which I do here, buddy.
You need to be convicted, my friend. And if Cutthroat Island doesn't deserve a 5.5, well then, son of a bitch, you take it down.
Cutthroat Island is a 4.5. I'm sorry. It's just like,
why are you apologizing to me? Like I rated it high. I gave it a 5.9. I don't love it.
it's so cookie cutter to me. It's just not good.
You live your life, man. You hate pirates. That's cool.
Nick, I feel like we're just on a roll here and we should just keep on rolling. Let's get into our award portion. Let's get into the cornies and the poppies.
Let's do it.
I forgot about this. Goddamn. Nick, I sent you a bracket.
Son of a bitch.
That is called the biggest piece of shit bracket. Don't open it yet. The contenders for this bracket and what this bracket entails is the biggest piece of shit bracket. And this has to do with fictional characters. So it's like March Madness style, Nick. We have 4 divisions. Let me just hit you with the first division. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
What's like the strongest division in college football? Is it SEC?
In college football, correct, yes.
Okay. So this first division is going to be like SEC. So this is the socio/psychopath division. Coming in, ranking in at number 1. Very strong. This is a very strong division. We have Packard from the movie The Wraith. This is the leader of a murderous gang of street racers that forces unwilling motorists to race for pink slips. And his idea of loving his girlfriend is holding her hostage with the passive aggressive and also overtly aggressive verbal and physical threats. Ranking in at number 2, we have Captain Cummings from the movie Stealth.
Oh yeah, he's a piece of shit.
Unnecessarily pushes his own agenda to get a fully loaded, weaponized AI fighter jet out into the world before it's ready, gaslights his top 3 fighter jet pilots, tries to murder one of the pilots, and attempts to cover up 1 and potentially 2 more deaths of the pilots he oversees. Ranking in at number 3, we have David Banner. He fails at his job of developing a super soldier serum for the military, blows up a military base, tries to murder his 4-year-old child, instead kills his wife, tracks down his 30-something-year-old son decades later, tries to kill him again, and anyone who gets in his way, and performs inhumane animal testing on dogs. Ranking number 4, we have Ghostface. Not only murders a bunch of innocent people with little to no reason, but also psychologically torments its victims and also displays the dead victims' bodies as mutilated Banksies. Number 5, Bishop from Juice. He falls into insanity after sipping on that juice and becomes addicted to murdering people, including his friends. Number 6, Louis Cypher. We got the literal devil with a vindictive and elaborate scheme to get back at Johnny Favorite for going back on his deal by guiding his hand to murder a bunch of people and manipulating him to unknowingly bang his daughter. Coming in at number 7, we have Joe Enders, a corporal who was put in charge of protecting Navajo soldiers, and instead of making sound decisions in the battlefield, he decides to go Super Saiyan Rambo on the Japanese, putting himself in danger and potentially collapsing the entire mission of protecting the Navajo code. Rounding out the socio-psychopath division, we got Wes from Mad Max, the Road Warrior, and assless chap Marauder who perpetuates violence. Coming in, we got the Coward division. For number 1, we got Zero the Hutt from Star Wars The Clone Wars. He plots the murder of his own nephew to frame the entire Jedi Order. Number 2, Brain from Escape from New York. He's a 2-time and flip-flopper that flip-flops on Snake Plissken, the Duke, and Fresno Bob. Coming in at number 3, we got Stephen Falcon, who created an AI program that can fire off nukes, and then went into hiding saying that nothing matters and we're all going to die. Number 4, we got director Lamar Burgess from Minority Report. He's the director of pre-crime who hides behind the curtain and lets others do his dirty work in hopes to cover up evidence, push fake narratives, and ultimately offing himself when he cannot kill John Anderton and make a fortune. Coming in number 5, we got Lieutenant Max Eckert, corrupt cop of Gotham PD, who's on the payroll of crime lord Carl Grissom, who ends up being a catalyst character, causing the downfall of then Jack Napier and the rise of the most dangerous villain Gotham has ever seen, the Joker. Coming in number 6, we got John Reed. He's just some nerd author aboard the Morning Star that rats out the entire pirate crew to the British government. Number 7, we got Map to the Stars Eddie, flip-flopping two-timer that flips on both Snake Plissken and Cuervo Jones. He's basically an elevated goon. Rounding out the coward division, we got Johnny the Boy from Mad Max. He's a pervy little punk who sexually assaults innocent people, begs for his life when pinned down, and blindly follows a man who calls himself Toe Cutter. The next division, we got the dipshit division. This is kind of like a wild card division. We got Turl, John Travolta from Battlefield Earth. He lies, cheats, steals, and like an 8-year-old, makes all these exact wording, literal backstabbing declarations to climb over and step on others to achieve his goal. And also he looks ridiculous. Coming in at number 2, we got Zorg from The Fifth Element. He is facilitating the evil plan of the planet Evil to kill the universe while being part of said universe. Also, he looks ridiculous. Number 3, we got George, a disobedient and chaos instigating little kid that learns no lessons on how to be a better person, even after the humbling experience of turning into a literal pig. Number 4, we got Michael Woods, the rich and entitled flaky cousin of Tommy Biggs, who constantly makes promises he does not keep, is told that quick fixes are not realistic solution to life's problems, and forces quick fixes to be the solutions to the major problems for his family and friends' lives, keeping them trapped in their own dead-end money pit hellhole cycles, and limiting the growth of people around him. Number 5, we got Professor Brainerd. He missed his own wedding 3 times. He didn't even attend his 4th wedding in person and phoned it in. He creates an unstoppable, dangerous, sentient entity of flying rubber and releases endless inertia powered by bowling balls into the neighborhood, causing property damage and overall reckless endangerment. Number 6, we got Roger Laffer. This is the LA Public Works or LADWP manager who disregarded the threat of a volcano below the city of Los Angeles. Number 7, we got Ray Peterson, Art Weingartner, and Mark Rumsfield, aka the Mayfield Place Mob. These are entitled and ignorant middle-class suburbanites who commit destruction of property, breaking and entering, theft and arson, and littering right in front of the Garbies. Number 8, we got Bruno. He's a problematic, misogynistic robot that shoots guns in public. And coming in with our last division, we got the asshole bracket. I'm going to start with number 8. There's a lot of kids in this one. So we have Charlie Frost. He gives his parents a hard time for being financially responsible. And whether he wants to admit it or not, he's the reason his dad is dead. Number 7, we got Morgan Hess from Signs. He's the son of Graham Hess, who constantly blames his dad for his mom's death, who had nothing to do with it, and becomes a self-proclaimed expert in extraterrestrials based off reading one book. Number 6, we got Master from Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. He exploits and manipulates a special needs man to be his muscle and fight to the death multiple times in the Thunderdome. Coming in number 5, we got Jesse from Free Willy. He is an ungrateful and somehow spoiled child, despite being an orphan at first, who disregards his adopted parents, defies authority, manipulates adults into his childish schemes, which include Grand Theft Auto. Number 4, we got Hendershot from Maximum Overdrive. He takes advantage of parolees and houses weapons of mass destruction like a bazooka in the basement of his gross, disgusting, poorly run truck stop. Number 3, we got Clown from Spawn, who is annoying, and he's a gross lackey of the Quiznos Sponge Monkey Devil. Coming in number 2, we got another Free Willy character. We got Dial. He's the CEO of the Marine Park. He exploits an orca for money, inhumanely treats and houses said orca, and then attempts to kill the orca in hopes to get a payout from the insurance fraud. And coming in number 1 from the asshole bracket, a strong bracket, we got Marty Wolf. He plagiarized a 14-year-old school paper into a blockbuster script in hopes to save his own career, refuses to give Jason Shepard credit for his idea, while constantly exhibiting racism, ageism, sexism, body shaming, and dedicating his entire personality to be a problem and play the devil's advocate.
My man, that is a bracket.
I
I appreciate the bio for each of them.
realized it was going to take 5 minutes to read all of that. Dude, I'm so sorry.
You're good.
Okay, you can open the bracket.
All right, I have the bracket up. I will share it.
What division would you like to start out with? Socio psychopath.
Cowards.
Oh,
We'll talk
okay.
about the cowards.
Okay, so this what's like a weak division in college football? Is that like the Pac? Is it us, the Pac-12?
Not this year. No. Top to bottom, the Big 12.
Okay, shots fired. Big 12 coming up. We got the coward bracket. Okay, so starting out with number 1, we got Zero the Hutt versus Johnny the Boy. Star Wars: The Clone Wars versus Mad Max. Who is a bigger coward?
What do you think?
I mean, Zero the Hutt is very cowardly because he is trying to literally murder one of his family members, but
He is kind of a big piece of shit, and he's a coward trying to hide behind and cause a geopolitical conflict. Zero.
okay, moving on. So we got Brain from Escape from New York versus Map to the Stars Eddie. We got Escape from versus
Map to the Stars, Eddie.
Wow.
Is the biggest coward.
Really?
I mean, what's your argument for Brain?
You know what? I mean, I think Brain had more of an impact on the Escape from New York movie. He had more like value, and because he had the map to the mine bridge in New York.
Mm-hmm.
He has more gravity to what he can bring to the table versus Map to the Stars Eddie. And he was a major
if you're saying
flip-flopper.
coward, Map to the Stars, Eddie. I mean, to the point where he jumped out. I mean, he could have lived in the movie if he didn't jump out of the helicopter.
No, I agree. Map to the Stars Eddie, it creates an upset over Brain. Get wrecked. Okay, so coming up in the coward bracket, we got number 3, Stephen Falcon versus John Reed from Cutthroat Island. One created an AI warhead world-killing machine, and the other one sold out his pirate crew to the British government. What's worse?
God, this is a good matchup here. But I think I'm gonna go. I have to go with Falcon to create something that'll murder the world and then just run off to an island and just say everybody's gonna die. Pretty big piece of shit move.
I think I'm going to agree with that. Stephen Falcon is moving on in the bracket. Coming up in the last of the first round for the coward division, we got director Lamar Burgess versus Lieutenant Max Eckert from 1989's Batman. I feel like these are kind of similar here.
Very similar. I think Lamar strangling a woman, drowning a woman is,
Eckert did set in motion the most potentially dangerous villain of Gotham,
but was unaware.
But he's not that guy.
Yeah. Lamar is somebody, he'll just murder you. He'll be like a big old piece of shit.
All right. Do you want to go division
and a woman
to Final Four, or do you want to go first round of the next division?
First round, we'll go with the sociopath.
Ooh, okay. A very the SEC of the group. Okay. So coming up first top tier, we got Packard versus Wes. Packard from The Wraith, Wes from Mad Max, The Road Warrior. I feel like the clear winner here is Packard. I have
to agree.
He was the leader of a gang. He just murdered people, and he is just a piece of shit boyfriend who keeps his girlfriend hostage. I think it's a clear winner. Wes is just kind of like a whiny.
I mean, he just murdered the guy who was talking to his girl. He's jealous. He's manipulative.
100% says he just acts on impulse. Coming up next, we got 2 military men. We got Captain Cummings from Stealth and Joe Enders.
I gotta go Joe Enders. He's delusional till his death.
I feel like I gotta go with Captain Cummings because he was just acting. He was acting on impulse, where he was just like, I don't care what I need to do. I need to get this AI fighter jet into the field.
But did he have good intentions?
No, that's exactly why he's a sociopath. I didn't know what his intentions were. He wasn't like money driven. He wasn't like promotional driven. He was just doing this for no apparent good reason.
Was Captain Cummings the one who threatened to kill anybody who was in that control room?
The control room was the complacent group of folks that just didn't speak up and say like, hey, this is wrong. And Captain Cummings was just like, oh, like tell the folks that Jessica Biel is coming in to land when she's actually being deployed 35,000 feet in the air over North Korea.
Yeah, it's Cummings.
I feel like it's Captain Cummings.
Now, David Banner and Louis Cypher.
Okay, so one is the literal devil, and I know you're asking, how is the literal devil rated number 6? It's because he's doing
I
devil
know his
things.
intentions.
He's
Yeah,
doing
I
devil
know his
things.
intentions.
David Banner
I'm going
is a
Banner here.
psychopath.
Yeah.
He's a psychopath. He's plotting his son's death twice.
He tried to kill his own baby.
He gets a job at his son's lab to get closer to him, to like attack his girlfriend. He's hulking out dogs. He's a psychopath, dude.
It's Banner.
It's Banner.
It's Banner. Ghostface and Bishop.
Okay, so these are very neck and neck murdery people. We got Ghostface, who is basically murdering for sport, but then we have Bishop from Juice, who is murdering for
pleasure.
Ego? Yeah. This is tough.
One.
This is tough.
I think I have to go with Ghostface here. Bishop gets an undeserved early exit, I think.
I was actually going to say Bishop because I don't want to spoil anything, but he is one personality that is making all of these decisions, whereas Ghostface might be influenced by outside multiple influences that are kind of egging each other on and can like drive themselves to murder these people. Whereas Bishop is just like, I'm going to murder people on my own.
What pushes me with Ghostface is the long play of capturing his girlfriend's dad and torturing him, and then gaslighting his girlfriend as a game into having sex with him, and then plans to murder her in front of her dad.
It's Ghostface.
That's depravity.
It's Ghostface.
That's a whole level of oof for me. All right, James, what bracket you want to hit?
Let's move on to the wild card. Let's move on to the dipshit bracket. So coming in, ranking in easily at number 1, we got Turl from Battlefield Earth, and he's going up against Bruno from The Adventures of Pluto Nash.
Bruno's a problem. But is he programmed to be a problem?
I don't know, because like the robots in that movie, they have like human personalities and they just make their own like poor decisions. He is an older model, I'll give him that, but I feel like Turl is the clear winner here.
Me too. When he starts blasting the legs off of cows, it's tough.
Number 2, we got Zorg, who is kind of related to Turl. He can go toe to toe with Turl as far as like just a patsy, like I'm a cog in the machine for something bigger that will ultimately not do anything for me. So we got Zorg from The Fifth Element versus Ray Peterson, Art Weingartner, and Mark Rumsfeld, aka the Mayfield Plays Mob, who are the entitled and ignorant middle-class suburbanites from the burbs. Who's a bigger dipshit?
I gotta go with Zorg because it's a pretty dipshitty thing to do to try to murder your own planet. But we'll say this just wasn't a strong matchup either or. I don't feel good about Zorg going forward.
And that brings us to from Zorg to George from My Brother the Pig. He's going up against the LADWP manager, director Roger Laffner, who disregarded a volcano below the city of Los Angeles, whereas George consistently stayed a piece of shit little kid after turning into a pig.
I think this is George in a runaway. Laffer does end up sacrificing himself into the lava.
No. You're thinking of the other guy from the Metro subway guy.
Got it. I'm still in on Team George.
Okay.
This is a sociopathic piece of shit who was unaffected by being turned into an animal, chased by a butcher, and then he comes out of it and it's just like, haha, nah, fuck this kid.
So George is moving on. Okay, this brings us to a very tight contested race of Michael Woods from Horse Sense / Jumping Ship to Professor Brainerd from Flubber.
It's a toss-up for me, man.
Just pure question. Who's a bigger dipshit?
Michael Woods.
At least Professor Brainerd is a genius. Michael Woods brings nothing to the table except anti-resolutions and keeping people in a hellhole cycle.
Brainerd missed appointments because he was creating this super composite. Michael Woods just was a sack of shit.
Moving on to the asshole bracket, we got Marty Wolf up against Charlie Frost. I think Marty Wolf. This is just like a Duke versus Creighton matchup here.
No disrespect to Creighton. This is Duke versus like UCSB. Like, sorry, guys.
Sorry, UCSB. Coming up next, we got Dial, the CEO of the marine park that exploited Willie, the orca, going up against Morgan Hess, son of Graham Hess from Signs, who became a know-it-all on extraterrestrial aliens. What are we thinking here?
Morgan Hess is a big piece of shit.
A lot of kids in this division.
But Dial was willing to murder a whale.
That's an asshole move, I think.
And then chased after a child.
Dial is moving on. Next, we got Clown, John Leguizamo from Spawn versus Master from Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. Now, Master did exploit someone with Down syndrome to fight to the death in his name.
These are two giant pieces of garbage, man.
Whereas Clown is just like an annoying, like gross patsy for Malbolgia.
Clown for like the quantity of shit, but Master for just sending a mentally disabled person into the Thunderdome. Gah, that's bad.
Yeah.
But here's the question: would Clown have done the same thing plus more?
Yes.
And I think that makes Clown take it.
The higher ranked Clown takes the cake on this one. Okay, are we in round 2 of all of them?
No, we need Hendershot versus Jesse.
Oh, okay.
And,
so
and
round
it's
eight.
Hendershot.
So we got Hendershot from Maximum Overdrive versus our second Free Willy character. This is the only movie that had 2 assholes in the mix. Jesse, who is an ungrateful, spoiled orphan. By far and wide, it's Hendershot.
Yeah, he's a problem.
Okay. Round 2. Let's go back up to the coward bracket. We got Zero the Hutt versus director Lamar Burgess.
They both pretty much do the same thing, but I think Lamar Burgess, I think he pulls an upset here.
Really? Care to elaborate?
He's not letting people die. He's putting them in the halo and just locking them basically in the basement in a personal hell. And feels and the worst part is Zero's trying to kind of like finagle. Lamar's trying to gain power out of this in a pretty fucked up way. And he's turning his back. Zero was just like having Jedi and whatnot get involved. Lamar Burgess had like, he's like, people he's been friends with his whole life. And he's ready to sell them down the river. And that's a pretty cowardly thing to do. And again, strangling a woman in the river. Like, come on, dude. Women.
Director Lamar Burgess takes this round.
Pulls the upset.
Pulls the upset over Zero the Hutt. Moving on, we got Stephen Falcon versus Map to the Stars Eddie.
Yeah, this is Falcon all day for me. Map to the Stars Eddie pulled a great upset over Brain. You know, he should be proud of himself for that one. But Map to the Stars Eddie is also trying to survive in a hellscape of what was formerly Los Angeles. Stephen Falcon's just ready for the world to end, and he's just hiding on his couch somewhere on the coast of Oregon, and that just doesn't sit well with me. So that's Stephen Falcon every day.
Ooh, okay, juicy stuff. Moving over back to the socio-psychopath bracket, we got number 1 ranked seed Packard going up against number 4 seed Ghostface. This is a bit of a toss-up.
This is a toss-up because they're both the same person.
I have a clear answer here.
I still think Packard.
It's Packard. He's okay with murdering people, and he is like not afraid to die.
It's the not afraid to die.
When the Wraith comes in, points the shotgun at his head, and he just like doesn't flinch. Whereas Ghostface at the end of the movie Scream is kind of like, Ghostface is showing his vulnerability at the physical vulnerability at the end of the movie. Whereas Packard was just like, I'm the Terminator till the end. And I'm still going to have my girlfriend suffer from Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah, he's a problem.
Yeah, no, he's a piece of shit.
Next up, we got David Banner versus Captain Cumming.
Oh, so we got, this is number 2 versus number 3. I'm going to defer to you. What do you think here?
I still think this is Banner, dude. This is Banner. He went to prison and then tracked down his son to kill him.
Nick Nolte's Banner.
Yeah. For me, this is it.
Down goes Captain Cummings. David Banner moves on.
Captain Cummings hoping for a lot more coming into this tournament, but just really ran up against a buzzsaw of a piece of shit dad. He sent genetic dogs to his son's girlfriend to tear her apart.
Yeah, from like Berkeley to like Sausalito or somewhere.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Moving over to the wild card of the dipshit bracket. You don't know what these guys are going to do. We got Turl, John Travolta from Battlefield Earth, going up against Michael Woods from the Disney Channel original movies, Horse Sense and Jumping Ship.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie here. I'm sniffing an upset. I'm big time sniffing an upset. I am, and here's why.
Is it because we had 2 movies to get to know Michael Woods versus John Travolta's Scientology Turl?
It could be, but Turl, while he's a piece of shit, and there's no denying it, has a motive, right? He's trying to rise in his ranks. This is what his race does. This is who he is. Michael Woods, I mean, he's just an entitled piece of shit, man. Who there's no excuse for him to treat people the way that he does. Turl has an excuse. Michael Woods has earned nothing. Turl has conquered planets. Turl has at least like gained some military prowess.
I gotta say, this is going better than I thought it would.
Michael Woods has earned nothing and still has the entitlement. And that in and of itself bothers me.
Michael Woods, he pulls the upset on Turl, the intergalactic colonist Turl. Michael Woods, Beverly Hills, entitled Rich Boy, Bitch Boy, pulls the upset. Coming to the other side of the dipshit bracket, we got
Battle of the Heavyweights here.
We got George from My Brother the Pig versus Zorg from The Fifth Element. Hashtag George Zorg.
Now this one's interesting to me because we really
this is apples and oranges, 100%.
It is. George might be more of an agent of chaos, though, than Zorg is. Zorg has basically fallen into a cult, right? The cult leader has put his spell on him.
Zorg is a follower, whereas George is a trailblazer of his own destruction path. He got a guy turned into a vulture.
Yeah, so I'm saying he's ruined a lot more lives.
And he has a pigtail for life.
He has no motivation for what he's doing other than being a sack of shit. And I think George pulls this one out. Sorry, Zorg.
Wow.
I know. Evil will not be happy with you, but
Evil should have channeled the chaotic energy of George.
He should have.
Okay, moving over to the asshole bracket. Let's start out with the top dog. We got Marty Wolf, script stealing degenerate versus Hendershot of Maximum Overdrive. This is Paul Giamatti versus Hingle McCringleberry. I feel like if you put these 2 guys in a room, they would either be best friends or mortal enemies.
I think they'd be best friends. They both love exploitation. Marty is exploiting children. Hendershot's exploiting ex-cons. The added bonus Hendershot has is his stockpile of highly illegal weapons. Marty not only has against children, it's everybody close to him. He has offended. Hendershot, I will say, for Hendershot's benefit, he is at least trying to help those around him. Like, he never pushes anybody out for bait. He brings his weapon out to try and help the situation. I think that's negative points for him in this bracket.
So that's negative against being an asshole.
Yeah.
Whereas Marty, he is like tooth and nail. I will grind it out to make it big and just like step over everybody that comes in my way.
I think the juggernaut of Marty is moving on.
I think he's steamrolling Hendershot in this one. Marty Wolf from Big Fat Liar just strolls past Hendershot 90 to 65 points in this game.
We have a juggernaut in the asshole bracket.
Yeah, Marty is just he's a clear winner. What is not going to be clear is the battle of Spawn's John Leguizamo's clown versus whatever the hell his name was playing Dial in Free Willy, the CEO who exploited a killer whale, aka my favorite animal.
Dial is acting on his own ambition, and Clown is serving someone else.
Let's think about it like the 2020 presidential election. Like Marty is Donald Trump, whereas this other bracket is the Democratic Party, and they're thinking whoever we elect is not necessarily someone we want to be president, but it's somebody that is going to have the best shot to defeat Donald Trump. Is that Clown Or is that Dial?
It's got to be Clown.
I feel like
in that
it's Clown.
situation.
I feel like it's Clown.
Dial takes a dive
Dial
in order to take down
Fall,
Marty.
Fall Guy Dial. Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders Dial takes a dive for Joe Biden, the clown.
Okay.
Okay, let's make our way back up to the coward bracket. Who is moving on to the final four? We got director Lamar Burgess from Minority Report versus War Games, Stephen Falcon. 2 season 1, first 5 episodes of the podcast. Who's moving on as the biggest piece of shit character of 2023?
I hate Stephen Falcon. However, he loses some of his piece of shitness, his cowardice, when he does.
He has a redemption
give
arc.
information. He has a redemption arc. Burgess kills himself, and that might be the most cowardly way out. So I think Falcon had a great run for being a piece of shit. I think he had an easy path against John Reed and Map to the Stars Eddie, but I think he gets exposed in this round. And I think Burgess moves on to the final four.
Yeah, Falcon gets soft on us. So director Lamar Burgess of Pre-Crime from Minority Report moves on to the final four. Okay, coming up, we got a heavyweight matchup. We have 2 of the worst movies reviewed from this past year of The Wraith versus Hulk. Packard, Nick Cassavetes versus Nick Nolte's David Banner. Nick, what the hell is going on with this matchup?
Oh man, this is a tough one. They both went to their grave with hate in their heart. They both are murderers. Banner tried to kill a baby. Packard is like a known murderer. He's just out.
He's just out murdering everybody.
Yeah. Banner, hunting down your son is a tough one.
So this is the sociopath/psychopath bracket. David Banner is representing the best of the psychopaths, the calculated, planned, just lunatics. And Packard is representing the best of the sociopaths, just the impulsive, I do what I want in the moment in the most extreme, violent way. Sociopaths. Who's coming out on top?
This is tough, man. This is a double overtime game. You got to feel bad. This is a look at the draw thing. Banner wishes he was in any other bracket right now, and he'd be sweeping his way through.
Do you want me to kind of lend some input here?
Give me some sway.
The way I'm leaning towards Packard because he doesn't have a clear mission. It's like I feel like sociopaths are more dangerous than psychopaths because psychopaths, I believe, have a goal.
They just don't have the emotion to stop them.
I feel like David Banner is acting on too much emotion.
I think they're both psychopaths. Technically, they'd both be psychopaths.
Psychopaths plan out their lunatic plan, and sociopaths are just like, I'm just reacting in the most extreme, violent way possible in the moment based on no predetermined ideas or ideologies.
Psychopaths plan big time. Sociopaths don't have emotion to stop their impulses. I think Packard's dangerous. The one seed.
The one seed
moves on.
The one seed moves on. This was telegraphed.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to the wild card division, we got the dipshit bracket. We got 2 family-friendly movie characters. We got Michael Woods from Disney Channel Original Movie versus George, who was in a straight-to-video movie that turned into a pig. Who's the biggest dipshit?
I'm gonna go with Michael Woods here.
Both of them didn't really kind of learn their lesson. George just he stayed static of his character and his goals, whereas Michael Woods, he was under the impression that he learned a lesson, but just doubled down and just executed the wrong answer, like the complete opposite answer of how your character arc should go.
Not just that, I think George is a product of his environment. He has terrible parents and a terrible nanny. Michael Woods has been presumably raised in a good household and still turns out a piece of shit. Like at his core, he's a bad person. So Michael Woods continues his Cinderella run, takes down Turl, and then finds himself into the final four.
Dude, let's go Michael Woods, pulling up 2 upsets. Moving on to the asshole bracket, we got 2 juggernauts. We have Paul Giamatti's Marty Wolf from Big Fat Liar going up against John Leguizamo's Clown from Spawn. Who's the bigger asshole here, Nick?
Clown has goals. Marty has goals.
I feel like Clown doesn't have a choice of his bad decisions. Like he's being guided by Malbolgia, who's just like this all powerful devil type figure. And he's just like, I have to carry out these sadistic objectives and missions from this ruler who has basically more power than me. Whereas Marty Wolf has free will. He can choose to be a better person than he is. He elects to be a problem in the world.
Yeah.
No surprise here. I thought, who's the second strongest division in college football?
Big Ten.
So SEC, the socio-psychopath, Packard, number 1 seed, run away with it. Not surprised. The Big Ten, the second ranked asshole, another very strong division. Not surprised. Number 1 seed, Marty Wolf, coming in to the Final Four. And I'm not gonna lie, the dipshit was a wild card.
That's the Pac-12.
Yeah, the Pac-12, like the dipshit Pac-12 division wild card. I was like, I don't know who's coming out of this. And then the weak ass coward division, I was like, whoever is in this is probably not going to win. So Final Four. Let's start on the right side here. Let's go Marty Wolf, 1 seed asshole versus director Lamar Burgess from Minority Report, who's winning, who's advancing to the finals here.
Man.
Lamar Burgess, he murdered people. He tried to cover it up to further his financial gains. Whereas Marty Wolf, he just constantly belittles people. He's trying to always further his own personal agenda.
Man.
It's tough.
I mean, Burgess has the murders on his side.
Yeah, murder's never good.
But we don't know that Marty's not capable of that. He's almost tearing people down and destroying them without the murder. Murder's almost the coward way out. He's just destroying careers along the way, putting people down. Is Marty too strong?
Okay, if you rewatch Big Fat Liar, you're thinking Marty Wolf is one of the worst human beings ever. Whereas if you rewatch Minority Report, director Lamar Burgess,
Marty
moves on to the championship round, which brings us to the Western Conference. We got the socio/psychopath division versus the dipshit. This is a crazy one. We got Packard from the Wraith, known killer,
best in the nation,
known hostage taker,
coming up against the Cinderella story of Michael Woods.
Joey Lawrence from the Disney Channel original movies of Horse Sense and Jumping Ship.
Now let's think about this. Packard, I mean, again, the psychopath nature.
What's the Venn diagram of people who have seen these two movies?
It's 2 people.
Does anybody even know what I'm talking about at this point?
No. James, I gotta say, I think the 1 seats here are just a little overpowered.
I think it's Packard. This is how I pretty much.
We all saw it coming.
We saw it coming. I thought the championship round, Packard versus Marty Wolf.
Let's let the heavyweights go to town.
Sociopaths versus assholes. Nick, please deep dive. Explain who is the biggest piece of shit fictional character that we have seen on screen for the year of 2023. Marty Wolf from Big Fat Liar versus Packard from the Wraith.
Man, I mean, Marty has just the mean streak, man. There's just not a kind bone in his body. Packard is more of like a broken human being, right? Doesn't know what love is. Doesn't know. This is the only way he knows how to get what he wants. Marty should know better. You know, Marty knows better. He knows what's right and chooses not to do it. Packard just knows to solve his problem this way. But he does murder. And murders just it doesn't care. You know what? And Packard doesn't care when his homeboys just drive off the road and explode.
No remorse when his friends die. He makes like a weird blood pact with his girlfriend, cuts his hand.
The blood pact thing is, that really, really comes into play.
He's emotionless. He's unpredictable. Marty is predictable.
But what makes you more of a piece of shit? The fact that you can't control your impulses, or the fact that you can and choose not to?
This is a true clash of the titans here.
Oof, man. This is a knockdown, drag out, and I'm really trying to get some insight here. Again, the murder is huge.
Real big negative points for murdering people.
We gotta ask though, if Marty was allowed to continue his path without Frankie Muniz getting in the way, would he have eventually gotten to murder?
I don't think so. I think Hollywood producers, directors, whatnots are soft. I think they're all talk and no walk. whereas Packard is all walk. He's just like, yo, I'm going to come in and just like steal your girl, murder you for looking at my girl, and hold my girl hostage and gaslight my crew to think that they're being loyal and whatnot.
It's Packard. It's got to be Packard.
Nick, are you saying for 2023, the biggest piece of shit is Packard, played by Nick Cassavetes from the 1986 movie, The Wraith?
That he is, James.
It's decided. Packard, he's your winner. Do you want to include the awards or do you just want to skip to the wheel?
Part of me wants to skip the awards, but that would break the deal and I would still have to spin the wheel.
That's the deal and face the wheel.
You're fucking champ, dude. Let's continue the award portion. So biggest piece of shit is Packard. Nick, let me ask you this. For our awards, the cornies, the poppies, what is your poppy for the best scene in a movie you've seen? And what is your corny for the most offensive scene in a movie you've seen?
So a little surprise here. My two scenes here come from the same movie.
Okay, I'm super interested in this.
So I think the best scene that I saw this year on the podcast is from Angel Heart. And it's when Harry Angel realizes who he really is. He has this whole, I call it the I know who I am scene.
I know who I am.
I know who I am. I know who I am.
I know who I am. It's a heavy scene. It's a good scene. This is right after the most offensive scene in which he bangs his daughter.
Not good.
Which I didn't like, where I thought he banged her and they had great sex, but instead he shoved his gun up her hoo-ha and murdered her. Murder incest is just a hard thing not to be offended by. Didn't take away from the film, but I did not like that.
No one did.
That's my corny, my poppy. James, your corny, your poppy. Best/most offensive scene.
Unfortunately, we have no crossover here. We will need to determine a best and a worst unanimously for the corny and the poppy. I'll hit you with bullet points for my poppy for best scene, which would be the first encounter with aliens from the movie Signs, the opening scene of Scream, the blood test scene of The Thing, the gun scene with the hinges guy from Schindler's List, and the locker scene with Tupac and Omar Epps from Juice. Those are my nominations for my poppy for best scene.
The opening scene from Scream is really good. The locker scene in Juice.
I think the locker scene in Juice is very memorable. I don't know if it's
best
like
acted scene.
I don't think I can call it the best scene. It's like a very iconic scene.
Yeah.
I think the blood test scene from The Thing is like very like stand out and is my favorite from The Thing. I don't know if we can call it the best scene I've seen. I really think it comes down to the Scream opening scene or the Schindler's List gun scene with the hinges guy.
I would say the gun scene with the hinges guy is probably the most impactful.
Mm-hmm.
But the opening scene of Scream
is
I
so
think
well crafted.
Might be the most well crafted scene.
What do we think for the poppy?
I think Scream.
The opening scene of Scream, Drew Barrymore. Congratulations, you get the poppy. The corny for the most offensive scene. I have 2 honorable mentions and one front runner. My 2 honorable mentions are the body shaming scene from The Adventures of Pluto Nash.
Pretty bad.
And then the battle in hell from Spawn, which featured piss poor CGI. However, the most offensive scene was when Josh Lucas dies in Hulk. Remember when he shoots the grenade launcher? It bounces off the Play-Doh clay that's holding in the Hulk. And then he looks behind him and like a cartoon character puts on this like shocked face and then jumps. It freeze frames. There's a green screen of exploding flames. And then it transitions into 18 panels at like a 40-degree distortion warped view.
Yeah, that's visually offensive.
As a spectator of a movie, that was offensive. For you, for Angel Heart, I feel like you're morally offended. But as like a movie making offensive scene, I feel like the Glenn death scene in Hulk is visually offensive. Who gets the corny?
I mean, offensive to the eyes, to the viewer. We'll give it to Josh Lucas.
Because Angel Heart at least was like conductive to the story.
Yeah.
And just the piss poor execution and laughable scene of Josh Lucas dying in Hulk is offensive.
I'll agree with that.
Time for best and worst title. Nick, what is your poppy for best title and corny for worst title?
I have 2 nominations for best title.
Okay.
and that is Minority Report and Maximum Overdrive, which is a sick title.
Yeah.
I think that's what got us so excited for the movie. We're like, Maximum Overdrive. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Let me hit you with my best title, the Poppy. We do have an overlapping one, which will automatically take the Poppy. My nominees for the Poppy of best title is Big Fat Liar. I think it's a fun, unique title. Coming up next is The Wraith. I think that's a very sick title. Coming up next is second place. We got The Fifth Element.
It's a good title.
However, Minority Report is the sickest title, I think, out of the whole slate of movies we watched.
It's a great title.
Minority Report takes the Poppy for best title.
I agree. It's a cool concept.
Let's move on to the corny of the worst title. So I'll start because I have an opposite phenomenon. I actually voted Maximum Overdrive as one of the worst titles. Coming up next is Battlefield Earth. I think whenever you enter battle into a title, you're just automatically pegged down 3 points. And then rounding out my corny for worst title is My Brother the Pig.
All right, so we have an overlap.
Is it the pig?
I had two clear nominees for worst title. One was The Adventures of Pluto Nash, and then My Brother the Pig.
Okay,
I mean, just what an uninventive
kernels and corn
terrible,
dogs.
terrible.
The corny of worst title goes to My Brother the Pig. Moving on to the best and worst ending. Nick, you got a Poppy for the best ending?
So honorable mention for best ending, The Thing. I know we said we would have loved like different endings. I think it did end well. I thought the ending to Big Fat Liar was great. The whole big shebang shenanigans. My number one top ending, believe it or not, was Escape from LA.
Are you get the hell out
man
of
grabs
here.
the sword of
No.
Damocles.
What you gave
puts
that
a projection
no,
of himself,
no,
walks
you
away,
gave that
and
gave
ends
that movie
the
a
fucking earth.
3.2, and it's nominated for best ending.
Yeah, I like it. It's the only good part about the movie is when it ended.
Dude, I'm shook right now. That I'm tickled, but also surprised.
It doesn't mean the movie's good. It doesn't mean the ending itself is good. But like the movie, the
You're
ending
saying
itself,
the best ending.
The ending fit with the story the best. Snake Plissken gets the sword of Damocles.
I'm not mad. I'm just proud.
All right.
My one and only nominee, clear and far away winner for best ending is John Carpenter's The Thing. I love that open ending. So, and we'll be thinking about that years down the road, decades down the road.
That's an overlap. So that's the winner.
Well, all right. John Carpenter's The Thing gets the Poppy for best ending of the year.
Works for me.
I also have a far and clear away winner for the worst ending of a movie. Do you have more than one? And if you do, go first.
I have a couple. Worst ending, we talked about it, Juice. And that's what the studio did. And we're all pretty upset about it still. My second nomination is Wind Talkers. Just the Nicolas Cage cream in his jeans ending. Can't do it. And then my third nomination is War Games. The More I Sit on It. Just the Whopper just frying up to tic-tac-toe. Like it's never had a scenario like that in its life. And it just explodes. Real unsatisfying.
Wow. Okay. Spoiler alert. No overlap here.
Okay.
All very valid and good points, but far clear and away. The worst ending is Maximum Overdrive.
I mean, yeah. So it's the worst beginning, middle, and end I've ever seen.
It's the worst movie we reviewed this whole entire year. And just the cherry on top of the cake of the shit cake, the poop cake. If it wasn't for that offensive title card to wrap up the quote unquote narrative, my vote would go towards Hulk. I thought Hulk had a awful ending. Like it was so confusing, disjarring, what the hell was happening. And it was just like, it's supposed to be super meaningful. And this is a father-son relationship, cathartic experience. No, it didn't come across the screen to the audience like that at all. And if Maximum Overdrive omitted the opening instructions title card and omitted that horrendous slap in the face ending title card of, oh, we destroyed a UFO warship in the middle of space. This is why we're now safe. No. If you didn't even have that part of the movie, I wouldn't be as offended. But just the fact that he had to shoehorn in the written word of what was going on, I was just like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah, I didn't even bring in Maximum Overdrive because I don't even think of it as an ending. So I'll just agree with you because I hate that movie with every cell in my being.
Awful.
Maximum Overdrive, worst ending. Easy.
Nick, you got a Poppy for best CGI? I have 2 nominations. I'll just go for it. I have Minority Report and Flubber.
Yeah, mine was going to be Minority Report.
Okay.
I mean, it just holds up so darn well. 2002.
I was pretty shocked with the quality of Flubber, but I think we'll give the Poppy to Minority Report.
I agree.
This will come as no surprise. The corny for the worst CGI. We can literally say it on 3. 1, 2, 3. Spawn. Verbatim.
Yeah.
The worst CGI I've ever seen in a movie.
It's just that bad.
Do you have a Poppy for the best practical effects?
I have my favorite, but I'm gonna name 2 here.
Okay, I'm gonna name 4. So
Okay.
when you overlap, we might have some common ground.
Yep.
So my Poppy for best practical special effects goes to the low runner Jack Frost, the puppeteering of the snowman. Very impressive, but very creepy. Coming up next, we got Mad Max Fury Road, the stunt work, practical action. We got The Thing. And then last but not least, we got the spider from Krull, the stop motion spider.
The stop motion spider is definitely was on my list, and I'm totally in on that one. I also had an honorable mention to, not your favorite, but Cutthroat Island. Cutthroat Island, I thought had a lot of good practical effects. Did not phone a lot of stuff in. They did dump a dummy off of the side of a cliff and got hit by a rope. The Poppy is going to the Krull spider.
1 W for the Krull. Okay, do you have a corny for worst practical effects? I have 2.
Let me hear him.
My first one is just the overall aesthetic and execution of Santa Claus Conquers the Martians.
Oh, it's a good one, yeah.
My second one is very specific. It's the part in Escape from New York when some lackey has his arm blown off from behind. He's has his arm from behind the wall, and then Snake Plissken blows it off with his gun.
Oh, that's a good one. That might take it, honestly.
Worst practical effects goes to the guy who got his arm blown off in Escape from New York.
That was a great one.
That
was just
against the corny.
Easily.
Now, we know what our mathematically worst rated movie is, but what was the biggest waste of time as far as a movie watching experience goes for you, Nick? Who gets the corny for biggest waste of time?
Biggest waste of time for me is My Brother the Pig.
Wow.
Nothing was learned. Nothing was gained. Nothing was lost. Everybody's still a piece of shit. And you just move on with your life. I'm sad that I watched it.
Okay, no overlap again. I have 5 nominees. I'll just rattle them
I also
off.
had Stealth. I also have Stealth on my list.
Again,
So-
no overlap, unfortunately. I have
Okay.
5 nominees. I'll just rattle them off. I have Santa Claus Conquers the Martians, Wind Talkers, Spawn, Hulk, and Krull.
Off of your list, I'd have to go with Santa Conquers the Martians.
I think that's very fair.
It's just bad. The other ones at least gave us some content to laugh at.
For some reference, I feel like Santa Claus Conquers the Martians, that was the movie I looked down at my phone a lot the most.
Yeah, I was not engaged in any way, shape, or form in that movie.
The corny goes to Santa Claus Conquers the Martians for biggest waste of time. Our last award, the corny, goes to the worst director of 2023. The nominees are Ang Lee for 2003's Hulk, getting over his skis of what CGI can do and executing a non-lore accurate Hulk story. Next, we got Luc Besson, who directed The Fifth Element. His crimes against humanity involve leaving everything up to interpretation for the audience and also being a real-life pervert. Coming up next, we got Mark A.Z. Dippity Doodah, director of Spawn, who decided to incorporate hundreds of CGI special effects to tell a narrative story when they weren't needed. Lastly, we got Stephen King, director of Maximum Overdrive, who was literally drunk and coked out while making this movie and got a guy blinded in one eye with permanent eye loss damage.
Yeah,
Nick,
for
I
me,
have
it's
to clear
far
and
and away
away winner.
Stephen King.
It's Stephen King.
It's Stephen King. There's
At
no...
first, season 1, I was like, it's Mark A.Z. Dippy. But when we got to Maximum Overdrive and just like the shit show production of Stephen King, I thought it was far and away Stephen King.
Yeah, it's not a question for me.
Okay. Well, that wraps up our awards, the cornies, the poppies. To wrap up this wrap party episode, we got to talk about the franchise of the year. Before we get there, we'll talk about what's in store for next year. We were pumping out pods week by week, but in order to give you better quality episodes, we will be probably publishing episodes every 2 weeks. But basically, we'll be scaling back the amount of episodes we come out, and we'll be giving you higher quality content. Also coming up next year, we are going to be buffing the bomb score. Instead of a box office bomb not making back 40% of its budget, instead, in order to qualify for a box office bomb, you must only obtain a maximum 40% return of your budget. Okay, so now it is time to reveal what franchise of the year we will be watching next year. So, Nick, we have a spinning wheel, and we have 10 American movie franchises on the board that consist of Indiana Jones, Back to the Future, The Matrix, Planet of the Apes, Jurassic Park / Jurassic World, Alien, Predator, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, the Terminator series, and Die Hard.
How can you go wrong?
Nick, you have control to spin the wheel for what franchise we will be watching in 2024. I'm not ready for this moment. Are you ready?
You know what they say, James. Break the deal.
Spin the wheel. Oh my God, you're spinning it. Okay, here we go.
Oh
my God. Yeah! Yes!
Indiana Jones,
yes,
baby.
Let's go. Oh my God, that's what we wanted.
That was it. That was that when we made this list. That's why it was the first one on this list.
We both were pushing for Indiana Jones because it was kind of reminiscent of Mad Max. It had that 80s kind of original trilogy and then like a modern day resurgence. I'm excited. I am so happy and pumped to be watching Indiana Jones next year with you. Holy shit. This is awesome.
That was the best outcome.
Oh my God. That's a huge relief. Okay, cool. Well, we can start building the schedule for 2024. Like we stated, we'll have a little bit less episodes coming out, but hopefully higher content, better conversations to be held.
Yeah, I was going to say that brings me into our last part, the resolutions.
We're coming up on the new year. This is when resolutions come up. Do you have anything you can kind of hit me with?
Yeah, and it kind of came up during this podcast. I didn't really have any good resolutions, and then we were talking about season 1. My resolution for this podcast is to bring maybe a little more depth back to the podcast like we used to have. And I think the 2-week schedule is going to allow us to get a little deeper into things. So I'm excited for that. So my resolution is to maybe be a little less pessimistic on things and look for the meanings that these directors are trying to put in, even if it's bad.
I wholeheartily agree. I think we need to up our game. A small resolution, I'm going to try and swear less. I feel like you and me, we kind of got like sailors' mouths. I'm going to try and swear less. You
created the biggest piece of shit brackets.
I feel like season 2 really got me angry about a lot of movies. So it just kind of fueled the cuss word swear jar. So I'm going to try and tighten up the lips here. But I agree. I think we need to kind of bring more in-depth conversation, deep dives, and dissecting of movies that we watch. And I think when we enter into next year, 2024, less movies and more integrity with our conversations, I think we can do just that. So keep it positive and not get as mad at the movies we watch. That's it.
That's it, man.
For one last time for the year, we're heading gone. Thank you guys, everybody, for listening. We salute you, kernels and corn dogs. Tune in next year when we review the Indiana Jones franchise, in addition to more flops, bombs, classics, movies you've never heard of. If it's out there, it's only a matter of time before we find it, and we just play it.